Chen Xin really wanted to see whether Yi Feng had already realized the unity of man and sword. Of course, Chen Xin knew that this was impossible, and no one could comprehend the unity of man and sword in just 3 months. However, Chen Xin still held a little expectation for Yi Feng. Shui Binger, Martial Spirit Ice Phoenix, Level 20 Control System First Ring Combat Spirit Master. Please teach me. Shui Binger stepped on the ground, and a yellow spirit ring appeared around her. The power of ice condensed into an ice phoenix behind her. The space around the ice phoenix was snowy, and the temperature around it dropped by several degrees Celsius since it appeared. Yi Feng, Martial Spirit 9 Hard Mysterious Begonia, Level 30 Control System First Ring Combat Spirit Master. Please teach me. Yi Feng's mind moved, and a yellow spirit ring appeared under his feet. In the palm of his right hand, a crabapple with jade texture appeared. What's your spirit power level? Shui Binger asked dully. Level 30, 1 ring, Combat Spirit Master. Yi Feng answered in a clear tone. What? Level 30, 1 ring? Shui Binger looked extremely shocked. Child, are you at the 30 level innate full spirit power? Shui Binger's grandfather, Shui Ruohan, stared at Yi Feng in shock. Yes, Yi Feng replied. Yi Feng only had 1 spirit ring, but his spirit power level was level 30. There was only one explanation. When Yi Feng awakened his martial spirit, his innate full spirit power was level 30. Originally, when a spirit master obtains the first spirit ring, their spirit power can get a certain bonus. However, Yi Feng's spirit power level was already level 30, which had reached a bottleneck. Before obtaining the 3rd spirit ring, his spirit power couldn't be broken through. 9 Hearts Mysterious Begonia, Shui Ruohan murmured to himself again. As the dean of Tianshui Academy, Shui Ruohan knew all the martial spirits in the world of spirit masters. He had heard of the 9-hearted begonia but had never heard of the 9-hearted mysterious begonia. He paused and murmured, could it be a mutated martial spirit of the 9-hearted begonia? After all, his last name is also Yi. First spirit skill, freeze. Shui Binger moved her mind, and Yi Feng's whole body was instantly frozen by the black ice. It's over. Shui Binger smiled. Yi Feng was frozen and could only stand there, unable to move. This also meant that this battle was over. Buzz. A wave of spirit power was born in the black ice, and a yellow light appeared under Yi Feng's feet. The blood flow in Yi Feng's body increased by 30%. His speed and strength increased by 30%. Bang. With a dull sound, the black ice that had frozen Yi Feng cracked open, and many cracks appeared. Break free. Shui Binger was stunned. At the same time, her mind moved again. Her first spirit skill was instantly activated again, freezing Yi Feng. Bang. The black ice had just frozen Yi Feng, and then shot away immediately. Whoosh. Then, there was a sound of breaking air. Yi Feng's body moved at high speed, so fast that before Shui Binger could react, he had already appeared in front of her. Yi Feng's fist was only an inch away from Shui Binger's nose. You lose, Yi Feng said. Are you really a control-type spirit master? Shui Binger asked Yi Feng questioningly. Yi Feng claimed to be a control-type spirit master, but his speed was not inferior to that of agile attack-type spirit masters. Shui Binger couldn't help but question it. I am indeed a control-type spirit master, Yi Feng responded. Then why are you so fast? Shui Binger asked curiously. This, may be because I have a mutated martial spirit. Yi Feng touched his head, his eyes flickering. The reason why Yi Feng's speed was so fast was that he had the golden finger system. With the help of the system, Yi Feng's agility increased by an additional 40 points. His speed was indeed not inferior to that of a level 10 agile attack spirit master. Mutated martial spirit, 9-hearted mysterious begonia, Shui Binger murmured to herself, as if she wanted to imprint Yi Feng's martial spirit in her heart. This was the first time she had been defeated by a peer. Mutated martial spirit, you are worthy of being the disciple of His Majesty's sword douluo. Shui Ruohan stroked his beard and looked at Yi Feng with admiration. He then stroked Shui Binger's head and said, Binger, you lost. Snow Eagle's spirit ring should belong to him. We should leave. Grandpa will help you find another spirit beast. Yeah, Shui Binger nodded. Shui Binger followed Shui Ruohan for a few steps and looked back at Yi Feng. The look in her blue eyes was very friendly, and it was obvious that she had a good impression of Yi Feng. Yi Feng took Shui Binger's expression into his eyes. After his efforts, Shui Binger finally did not have a bad impression of him. Are you attracted to that girl? Chen Xin asked. Ah, Yi Feng asked in surprise. Yi Feng, you are still young. As for finding a girlfriend, you'd better wait until you go to the Advanced Spirit Master Academy. Chen Xin warned in a very serious tone. Master, things are not what you think. Yi Feng looked at Chen Xin with a smile. How old is he? He is only 6 years old this year. How could he possibly think about his other half? Really? Chen Xin asked worriedly. Yeah, Yi Feng nodded heavily. Isn't it better? Okay, end the Snow Eagle's life and obtain its spirit ring. Chen Xin ordered. Yeah, Yi Feng nodded. Yi Feng held the dagger in his hand and slashed it across Snow Eagle's neck, ending the Snow Eagle's life. He formed seals with his hands, and icy light flew out from Snow Eagle's body, condensing into a halo above the Snow Eagle's body. Under the guidance of Yi Feng's thoughts and hand seals, the halo was put into the Nine Hearts' mysterious begonia in his hand. When Yi Feng opened his eyes, Chen Xin asked impatiently, "What is your second spirit skill?" "Frozen," Yi Feng replied. Yi Feng answered while performing his second spirit skill. In front of him, a tree that could be hugged by one person was frozen by a layer of black ice that was 30 centimeters thick. My current spirit power level is level 30. The thickness of the frozen black ice is 30 centimeters. Every time my spirit master level reaches the next level, the thickness of the black ice will increase by 10 centimeters. Yi Feng answered in detail. Since Yi Feng had not yet obtained the third spirit ring, his spirit power level would still be level 30 after he obtained the second spirit ring. Yeah, not bad. Chen Xin was quite satisfied with Yi Feng's spirit skills. As the descendant of the three earth sects, Chen Xin had read a lot of ancient books. He knew that some high-level spirit beasts could make the spirit skills obtained by spirit masters more powerful. In other words, the strength of the spirit skills in the spirit ring depended on the species of spirit beasts. Of course, it was the spirit master who performed the spirit skills. The power of the spirit skills was also related to the spirit master's flexibility and skillful use. Master, can you defeat Poison Douluo? While searching for the spirit beast, Yi Feng suddenly asked Chen Xin. Poison Douluo's spirit power level is 92, 4 levels lower than my master, Chen Xin replied. In that case, master can crush Poison Douluo? Yi Feng asked knowingly. Yeah, Chen Xin responded. Master, when I get my third spirit ring, can you take me to Sunset Forest? Yi Feng asked, his eyes fixed on Chen Xin with a hint of anticipation. Why do you suddenly want to go to Sunset Forest? Chen Xin asked curiously. I heard there's a poisonous mountain in Sunset Forest occupied by Poison Douluo. They say there are some rare medicinal herbs there. The doctor in my village mentioned that if a spirit master consumes aged medicinal herbs, it would greatly benefit their cultivation, Yi Feng replied. Having obtained 2 spirit rings and soon to gain his third, Yi Feng, as a time traveler, knew that Dugu Bo's medicine garden contained rare and magical herbs capable of greatly strengthening one's physique. The number of years a spirit master could absorb from a spirit ring wasn't fixed. It depended on the strength of their body. Yi Feng knew that Dugu Bo's medicine garden contained the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, along with fiery apricots and star aniseed ice grass. The combination of these herbs not only enhanced physical strength but also granted immunity to ice and fire. If he hadn't taken a title Douluo as his master, he would have followed the natural path and waited for an opportunity. But since he had a powerful master like Sword Douluo, Yi Feng naturally wanted to improve himself ahead of time. You're saying, that old poison freak has a poisonous mountain in Sunset Forest? Chen Xin stopped and stared at Yi Feng. Yeah, I heard he's still there, and he has a medicine garden, Yi Feng replied. Is the information reliable? Chen Xin asked. I'm not sure, I just happened to hear about it from a spirit master, Yi Feng said, eyes flickering as he told a white lie to avoid unnecessary trouble. Yi Feng, remember this, relying on external forces to improve strength is not the right path, Chen Xin warned. He was worried that Yi Feng might become too eager for quick success, which could lead to instability in his cultivation. I understand, master, but if the information is true, I still want to obtain some medicinal herbs, Yi Feng said firmly. All right, after we finish here, I'll ask Fengji to send people into Sunset Forest to investigate. If there really is a poisonous mountain, I'll take you there myself, Chen Xin responded. Thank you, master, Yi Feng said happily. You're my disciple. There's no need for thanks, Chen Xin said, reaching out to ruffle Yi Feng's hair. 5 days later, Yi Feng obtained his third spirit ring. Afterward, he rode on Chen Xin's 7-killing sword and flew straight from the spirit hunting forest back to Notting City. Upon reaching the gate of Notting Academy, Chen Xin parted ways with Yi Feng and headed to the 7 treasure glazed tile sect, while Yi Feng returned to the 7th dormitory alone. Teacher, isn't what we're doing a bit unethical? Tang San asked Grandmaster Yu Shaogang hesitantly, a struggle evident in his eyes. Different people, different circumstances, different morals. If we don't do this, we'll end up packing our bags and leaving just like them, Yu Shaogang replied. In front of Tang San and Yu Shaogang, a group of working students was packing up their belongings, preparing to leave the academy. Just as Yi Feng arrived at the gate of Dormitory 7, he witnessed this scene. Yi Feng, you're finally back, Xiao Wu said with a hint of grievance in her voice, stepping forward with an aggrieved expression. Xiao Wu, what happened? Yi Feng frowned. Xiao Wu, Wang Sheng, and the other 8 working students carried their bedding on their shoulders, along with buckets filled with toiletries and other essentials. We've been expelled from the academy, Xiao Wu said softly, lowering her head. Expelled? Yi Feng was stunned. Yeah, Xiao Wu nodded. What the hell happened? What did you do to get expelled? Yi Feng's frown deepened as curiosity filled his gaze. In the original storyline, Xiao Wu had graduated from Notting Academy without any trouble. But now she was expelled. Yi Feng couldn't help but wonder if this had something to do with him. Sure enough, after listening to Xiao Wu's explanation, Yi Feng realized the matter was indeed connected to him. Before leaving, Yi Feng had given IOUs to the 9 working students in Dormitory 7, IOUs originally written by the senior students who had tried to bully them. Xiao Wu received an IOU worth 500 gold spirit coins from Xiao Chanu, while Wang Sheng, Tang San, and others had their own share. Hoping to free themselves from their status as working students, Xiao Wu and the others went to collect their debts from Xiao Chanu and his group. However, Xiao Chanu, despite repeatedly promising to pay, never did. When Tang San returned with his first spirit ring and Yi Feng was still missing, Xiao Chanu assumed that Yi Feng was never coming back. Feeling emboldened, he and his group resisted with force, leading to a fight. With her first spirit ring, Xiao Wu easily beat the shit out of Xiao Chanu. And that's where things went wrong. When Xiao Chanu returned home at noon, his father noticed something was off and questioned him. Learning what had happened, he used his connections to convince the vice dean of Notting Academy to expel the working students who had dared to bully his son. Tang San, is that true? Yi Feng asked. Yi Feng knew that Tang San's teacher, Yu Xiaogang, had a close relationship with the academy's dean. If Yu Xiaogang had stepped in, Xiao Wu and the others wouldn't have been expelled. The whole situation had started because senior students like Xiao Chanu had bullied Yi Feng and Wang Sheng. Don't ask him, he's not one of us, Wang Sheng snapped, glaring at Tang San with open hostility. What the fuck is his problem? Yi Feng asked, confused. From Wang Sheng's explanation, Yi Feng learned that Tang San had not been expelled. Since Tang San had also received an IOU from Yi Feng, he should have been expelled like the others. However, because he had Yu Xiaogang as his teacher, the vice dean spared him, only giving him a disciplinary warning. In reality, though, the probation was just a formality, Tang San wouldn't be punished at all. Where is the working student who beat up my son? A powerful voice rang out from outside the crowd. The person hadn't appeared yet, but his voice carried an undeniable authority. Yi Feng looked in the direction of the voice and saw a middle-aged man in brocade robes walking toward him. The man appeared to be in his late 30s or early 40s. Behind him were 6 guards, along with Xiao Chanu, who had previously been beaten by Yi Feng. Xiao Chanu, Yi Feng frowned and murmured. Yi Feng, don't get me wrong. My father insisted on standing up for me. I never intended for you to be expelled from the academy, Xiao Chanu explained anxiously. Yi Feng, so you're the one who broke my son's ribs. The middle-aged man glared at Yi Feng, his tone filled with anger. So what? Yi Feng replied calmly. In that case, let's fight, the middle-aged man declared. You're seriously about to bully a kid? Yi Feng frowned. Cut the bullshit, you think I can just sit back after you beat my son? Am I still fucking Xiao Xiao, the richest man in Notting City, if I let that slide? Xiao Xiao sneered. As he spoke, his spirit power surged, and 3 spirit rings appeared beneath him, 1 white, 2 yellow. A red glow condensed behind him, forming the upright shadow of a wolf. This was happening right in front of Notting City Spirit Master Academy's dormitory. The commotion quickly attracted attention. Seeing an adult about to attack a student, a dormitory teacher stepped forward and tried to intervene. Noble Xiao Xiao, this is the academy. If word gets out that you're here beating up children, it won't look good for you, the teacher reminded him. You just met me yesterday. Xiao Xiao shot the teacher a cold glare. And besides, they're no longer students of your academy. They've been expelled. You'd better mind your own damn business. Xiao Xiao's power and influence made the teacher hesitate. As the wealthiest man in Notting City, he also had ties to high-ranking nobles in the Heaven Do Empire. No one wanted to provoke him. The entire crowd fell silent under Xiao Xiao's oppressive aura. His gaze locked onto Yi Feng. You broke my son's ribs, so I'll break 2 of yours. Do yourself a favor and don't move, or you'll end up worse, Xiao Xiao warned coldly. First spirit skill, Wolf Claw. As Xiao Xiao spoke, his first spirit ring glowed white. In an instant, he lunged at Yi Feng, his clawed hand swiping straight for Yi Feng's chest. If the attack landed, Yi Feng's flesh would be ripped open. Clearly, Xiao Xiao wasn't planning to just break a couple of ribs, he wanted to do some serious damage. Whoosh! Just as the attack was about to land, blood splattered. But Xiao Xiao's wolf claws met no resistance. Instead, they passed straight through Yi Feng's figure. An afterimage, Xiao Xiao's face twisted in shock. He had expected Yi Feng to take the hit, yet his attack had landed on thin air. When he turned to look at Yi Feng, his expression darkened. Beneath Yi Feng's feet, 3 spirit rings glowed, 2 yellow, 1 purple. 3 spirit rings, a spirit master, 9-hearted begonia. Gasps erupted from the crowd. Dozens of stunned eyes locked onto Yi Feng in disbelief. 3 spirit rings meant that Yi Feng's spirit power had surpassed level 30. The name Nine-Hearted Begonia came from none other than Yu Shaogang, the so-called Grand Master. As a disciple of one of the upper 3 sects, Yu Shaogang had read countless spirit-related records. The moment he saw Yi Feng's martial spirit, he recognized it instantly. Looking at Yi Feng, Yu Shaogang cursed under his breath. Which dumbass mistook a Nine-Hearted Begonia spirit for a useless pair spirit? Tang San, standing beside him, looked just as shocked. Teacher, is the Nine-Hearted Begonia spirit really that powerful? He asked. Yu Shaogang nodded. No matter how many spirit rings a Nine-Hearted Begonia user has, they will always have only one spirit skill, Area of Effect Healing. It's one of the strongest auxiliary spirits in existence. However. But what? Tang San pressed. However, Yi Feng's martial spirit, while similar in appearance, is different in color and texture. If I'm not mistaken, this is a mutated spirit from one of the Earth 3 sects, Yu Shaogang explained. As he spoke, a flicker of sadness crossed his eyes. Both he and Yi Feng possessed mutated spirits, but Yi Feng's mutation made him stronger, while Yu Shaogang's mutation made him weaker. But how the hell is his spirit power over level 30? Tang San asked, his voice laced with disbelief. Didn't the Spirit Hall's awakening certificate say he had an innate full spirit power of level 20? That doesn't make sense. Yu Shaogang's gaze darkened. Someone must have made a mistake. His innate spirit power wasn't level 20, it was level 30. Wait, teacher, is that even possible? Tang San asked, a hint of jealousy creeping into his tone. There wasn't before, Yu Shaogang admitted. But there is now. Yi Feng is the first. On the Spirit Awakening certificate issued by the Spirit Hall, Yi Feng's innate spirit power was recorded as level 20. But Yu Shaogang knew better. Yi Feng was only 6 years old when he awakened his spirit. No matter how much talent he had, it was impossible to raise his spirit power by 10 levels in such a short time. The only explanation, his true innate spirit power was level 30 from the start. Innate full spirit power at level 30. A spirit master. A shocked voice came from the outskirts of the crowd. Everyone turned toward the sound. 2 figures approached, one middle-aged, the other elderly. The older man had graying hair and appeared to be in his 60s or 70s. He wore the teacher's uniform of Notting Academy, but unlike the regular teachers, his sleeves were embroidered with golden silk threads, exuding an air of nobility. Dean, one of the teachers blurted out. The elderly man was the dean of Notting City Junior Spirit Master Academy. Beside him, the middle-aged man looked elegant and refined, yet his presence carried a natural authority. His temperament was calm, making those around him instinctively feel at ease. Yu Shaogang's pupils contracted. Ning Fengji, he muttered. As someone from one of the upper 3 sects, Yu Shaogang instantly recognized the middle-aged man as Ning Fengji, the leader of the 7 Treasure Glazed Tile sect. But why the hell was someone as important as Ning Fengji here at Notting Academy? Sect Master Ning. Xiao Xiao's face twisted in shock. His arrogance vanished in an instant. Forgetting about Yi Feng entirely, he practically sprinted forward, nearly bending at the waist as he greeted Ning Fengji with the utmost respect. Sect Master Ning, what brings you here? Xiao Xiao asked, his voice filled with both excitement and nervousness. The teachers at Notting Academy knew that the noble Xiao Xiao had been boasting about associating with was none other than Ning Fengji. I was passing by and decided to take a look, Ning Fengji replied with a smile. You didn't even tell me you were coming. I could have given you a proper welcome, Xiao Xiao said, forcing a smile. Ning Fengji ignored his flattery and asked, Xiao Xiao, what are you doing? This brat broke one of my son's ribs, so I'm teaching him a lesson, Xiao Xiao responded. Xiao Xiao, this is my academy. You, a grown-ass man, came here to beat up a student. Have you no shame? The dean of Notting Academy shouted. Dean Chen, maybe you don't know, but these working students have already been expelled. They're no longer students of your academy, Xiao Xiao explained. Funny, how come I don't know about this? The dean frowned. He's the one who expelled us, Wang Sheng pointed straight at the vice dean standing in the crowd. You, the dean's gaze followed Wang Sheng's finger, locking onto the vice dean with cold, sharp eyes. Qian Ming, you expelled students without my approval. Do you even acknowledge me as the dean? And on top of that, you kicked out a damn 3-ring spirit master. Dean, I just found out now that he's a spirit master. The vice dean stammered, looking pitiful as hell. Hey, weren't you just saying you wanted to teach me a lesson? What happened? Keep going, Yi Feng interrupted, his eyes gleaming with amusement. HMPH, kid. For the sake of Sect Master Ning and the Dean, I'll let you off this time, Xiao Xiao said coldly, though his eyes betrayed a hint of fear. Now that the Dean and the leader of the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect were here, Xiao Xiao, as an adult, couldn't continue bullying a kid. Especially not in front of Ning Fengji, one of his most valuable business partners. He knew better than to leave a bad impression. Xiao Xiao was ready to let it slide for now, but Yi Feng. He wasn't about to let shit go that easily. Yi Feng's expression sharpened. You just used a spirit skill on me. It's rude not to return the favor. My turn now. First spirit skill. Boiling beast blood. The first spirit ring around Yi Feng flared with yellow light, and a surge of red energy flooded his body. His blood ran hotter, making his strength and speed explode. Second spirit skill. Freeze. Without hesitation, Yi Feng's second spirit ring lit up. In an instant, a thick, 30-centimeter layer of black ice engulfed Xiao Xiao, freezing him solid. Holy shit, that was instant casting. The Dean of Notting Academy blurted out in shock. Yi Feng had activated 2 spirit skills back-to-back, with no delay whatsoever. That kind of talent was unheard of. Before Xiao Xiao even realized what was happening, Yi Feng's fist was already flying straight at him. Bang! The ice shattered as Yi Feng's punch sent Xiao Xiao flying over 10 meters. Is this kid really a control-type spirit master? A teacher whispered, completely baffled. That punch alone had the raw force of a damn near level 30 power-type spirit master. He's just a child, another teacher muttered in disbelief. How the hell did a 6-year-old land a hit like that? Spirit power, level 34. Ning Fengji exclaimed. Yi Feng had absorbed 3 spirit rings, pushing his spirit power straight to level 34. His first spirit skill, Boiling Beast Blood, boosted his strength and speed by 34%. That was how his punch had packed such ridiculous force. Vice Dean, do you realize what you've done? The Dean roared at Qian Ming. Level 34 at 6 years old. If Yi Feng kept progressing like this, a title douluo was all but guaranteed in his future. And now, thanks to the Vice Dean's dumbass decision, Notting Academy had nearly lost the chance to claim Yi Feng's name in its history books. I already expelled them. They caused trouble first. According to the Academy's rules, they deserved to be kicked out, the Vice Dean retorted, still trying to act tough. The Dean's face darkened. I promise you, the responsible party for this mess will be held accountable. He threw a glance at Ning Fengji as he spoke. If anyone should be held responsible, it should be me, the Vice Dean declared arrogantly. You wouldn't be able to afford the price, the Dean scoffed. Meanwhile, Yi Feng had his sights locked on Xiao Xiao. You wanted to break 2 of my ribs, huh? If I weren't strong enough today, I'd be the one lying on the ground in pain. Now that you can't beat me, you suddenly want to back off. Fuck that, I'll break 4 of your ribs instead. Consider it a lesson. Act like a cocky bastard, and you'll pay for it sooner or later. Yi Feng took a slow step forward. Xiao Xiao flinched. The shame of being lectured like a child by a 6-year-old made his blood boil. Gritting his teeth, he activated his 3rd spirit ring. 3rd spirit skill, Wolf Howl. A piercing howl echoed across the field. Waves of sound crashed toward Yi Feng, stopping him in his tracks and forcing him to step back. Yi Feng narrowed his eyes. 2nd spirit skill, Freeze. Another burst of icy energy spread across the field, instantly freezing Xiao Xiao in black ice again. Yi Feng dashed forward, closing in. Xiao Xiao struggled, and just as Yi Feng was about to punch him, he stomped down hard, shattering the ice and retreating. It's not that easy to escape, Yi Feng smirked. 3rd spirit skill, Water Essence. Yi Feng's 3rd spirit ring glowed purple. A 5-meter wide puddle formed beneath Xiao Xiao's feet. But this wasn't just any water, it slowed anyone caught in it by 50%. Meanwhile, Yi Feng remained completely unaffected. Xiao Xiao's heart sank. Shit, I can't dodge this one. He could only watch as Yi Feng's fist slammed into his chest. Bang! The impact wasn't just strong, it was brutal. The sickening crunch of bones breaking filled the air. 4, maybe 5 ribs snapped at once. The entire field fell into dead silence. That fight had been nothing short of incredible. A 6-year-old had just wiped the floor with a man in his 30s. Xiao Xiao struggled to his feet, blood dripping from his mouth. He clutched his ribs, his face twisted in pain. You little shit, I won't forget this, he spat, glaring daggers at Yi Feng. Yi Feng just grinned. You know where to find me. Xiao Xiao sucked in a deep breath to control his anger, then turned to Ning Fengji. Sect Master Ning, I apologize for making you witness such an embarrassing scene. Ning Fengji simply smiled. Meanwhile, Yi Feng walked up to him with a bright grin. Uncle Ning, what brings you here? Xiao Xiao's head snapped up, eyes wide with shock. Uncle Ning. Did Yi Feng just call Ning Fengji, his biggest business partner, uncle? I was passing by, Ning Fengji chuckled. The shopkeepers in town mentioned seeing you and Uncle Jian return, so I thought I'd stop by. Uncle Jian. Yu Shaoging's ears perked up at those words. His expression twisted with disbelief. Could Yi Feng's teacher be Chen Xin? Though he had spoken softly, Tang San heard him loud and clear. Teacher, is Yi Feng's teacher stronger than you? Tang San asked, his curiosity piqued. Yu Shaoging turned to his student, his lips twitching. Stronger. Chen Xin wasn't just stronger. Yu Xiaogang couldn't even compare to him. Uncle Ning, the vice president of Notting City Junior Spirit Master Academy, was stunned. He walked up to the dean and asked in a low voice, "Dean, does he actually know Sect Master Ning?" The dean nodded slightly. This. The vice president who had expelled Yi Feng was panicking. He looked at Yi Feng, completely lost for words. "Are you nervous now?" The dean of Notting Academy smirked. "Dean, please, you have to put in a good word for me with Sect Master Ning." The vice president who expelled Yi Feng put on a pitiful face, begging the dean to intercede with Ning Fengji. "Sect Master Ning is a magnanimous man, he won't stoop to your level. But you might not realize who Yi Feng's teacher is." The dean's tone was sharp. Who is his teacher?" the vice president asked cautiously. "Chen Xin." "What, him?" The vice president turned pale, his eyes widening as if he were a death row prisoner about to be executed. Chen Xin's reputation in the Spirit Master world was legendary. The reason the vice president was so terrified was because he had heard of Chen Xin's ruthless and decisive nature. Chen Xin did whatever the hell he wanted, and his reputation was comparable to the notorious Clear Sky douluo, Tang Hao. For Ning Fengji, as long as Chen Xin didn't challenge the Spirit Hall directly, he didn't give a damn about what Chen Xin did. Now, the vice president had expelled Chen Xin's direct disciple. If Chen Xin decided to personally deal with him, even the Heaven Do Empire wouldn't interfere. The vice president was genuinely scared shitless. He knew he had fucked up beyond repair. On the other side, Ning Fengji had heard the whole story from Yi Feng. His gaze landed on Xiao Xiao, who had been bullying the weak. Though his tone was calm, his words carried an intimidating weight. "Xiao Xiao, from today onward, my 7 treasures glazed tile sect will no longer do any business with you. Master Ning, this is a misunderstanding. A complete misunderstanding. I lost my temper. It wasn't intentional." Xiao Xiao scrambled to explain, forcing out a smile. "Save it." Ning Fengji cut him off coldly. "Also, you have 3 days to settle every last debt you owe me." Xiao Xiao's face went pale. He started sweating bullets. "Master Ning, please, everything that happened today was a misunderstanding. Give me another chance. I'll accept any punishment you give me, just don't cut ties with me." Although Xiao Xiao had money and power, he also owed Ning Fengji a hefty sum. Ning Fengji's business empire covered the entire Heaven Do Empire. Losing his support would cripple Xiao Xiao's financial standing overnight. Suppliers and partners would all cut ties, and creditors would swarm him like vultures. He was staring bankruptcy in the face. "Punishment," Ning Fengji scoffed. "I'm just a businessman, how could I punish you? But rest assured, my people in Notting City will be visiting you soon to settle all accounts." Xiao Xiao felt his stomach drop. His body went limp, and he collapsed onto the ground. He stared blankly at Yi Feng, unable to comprehend how his downfall had come at the hands of a mere working student. Then, desperation kicked in. If he lost everything, he might as well be dead. With a loud thud, Xiao Xiao dropped to his knees and begged, "Little brother, no, little ancestor. Please, be merciful, speak to Sect Master Ning on my behalf. I'll do anything, I'll be your servant for life if that's what it takes." Yi Feng didn't even flinch. His gaze was cold as ice. Uncle Ning made his decision. "I'm just a junior, my hands are tied, you're asking the wrong person." Ning Fengji watched this with a hint of approval in his eyes. He reached out and ruffled Yi Feng's hair. "This kid gets it. A true powerhouse must be ruthless when necessary." Suddenly, the vice president of Notting Academy walked over with an awkward smile. "Yi Feng, I'm not a student anymore. You expelled me, remember?" Yi Feng's tone was indifferent. "Yi Feng, you're mistaken. I was misled by others." The vice president chuckled nervously. "From this moment, I officially reinstate you and the other working students." Yi Feng sneered. "Oh, so now we're good enough for your academy. You treat us like trash 1 second and beg us to stay the next." "Yi Feng, please stay," the dean suddenly spoke up, his voice sincere. He glanced at the vice president and continued, "I'll make sure justice is served for what happened today. Anyone responsible will be punished." Yi Feng hesitated. He saw Wang Sheng, Xiao Wu, and the others looking at him expectantly. They wanted to stay. They needed the academy's training. "Fine," he relented. The dean sighed in relief. "Yi Feng, where's Uncle Jian?" Ning Fengji asked. "Why isn't he with you?" Yi Feng briefly explained that Chen Xin had left. After exchanging a few more words, Ning Fengji took his leave, promising to visit Yi Feng when he had time. As Yi Feng and Xiao Wu prepared to head to the Spirit Hall branch in Notting City to get their Spirit Master advancement certificates, Xiao Wu couldn't resist throwing a glare at Tang San. She was clearly pissed that Tang San had relied on Yu Xiaogang's connections to stay at the academy while doing absolutely nothing to help the working students. Meanwhile, the vice president who had expelled Yi Feng finally allowed himself to breathe a sigh of relief. He turned to the dean with a forced smile. "Dean, I admit my mistake. I'm willing to accept any punishment from the academy." The vice president thought he'd gotten off easy. He might lose his position, but at least Ning Fengji hadn't personally punished him. The dean shot him a knowing look. Don't think you're off the hook just yet. Don't forget, Yi Feng's teacher is Chen Xin. The vice president's smug expression froze. See Chen Xin. Yes, the dean said meaningfully. You disrespected his direct disciple. Do you really think he'll just let that slide? If I were you, I'd be kneeling at the gate of the Seven Treasures glazed tile sect right now, begging for forgiveness. That might be the only way to save your sorry ass. The vice president turned ghostly pale. Chen Xin's face flashed through his mind, and a cold sweat drenched his back. On the Douluo continent, whether it was a bustling metropolis or a tiny village in the mountains, there was always a branch of the Spirit Hall. Yi Feng and Xiao Wu quickly found the most iconic building in Notting City, the local branch of the Spirit Hall. Stop, kid, you can't just waltz in here. This is the Spirit Hall. As Yi Feng and Xiao Wu stepped onto the entrance steps, the gate guards immediately blocked their way. Hello, we're here for a spirit evaluation, Yi Feng said with a polite smile. You sure about that? The guard eyed him suspiciously. We're sure, Yi Feng replied calmly. Alright, head inside and find Master Matthew Nuo at the reception hall on the first floor. He's in charge of evaluating spirits for spirit masters. But listen carefully, you're only allowed in the reception area. No wandering around. The guard's tone remained doubtful. Got it, Uncle Guard, Yi Feng answered with a grin. The Spirit Hall in Notting City was a massive dome-shaped building, over 20 meters high with 3 floors. The entire structure was brown, and the emblem of the Spirit Hall, a long sword, was prominently displayed above the entrance, signifying that this was just a lower-level branch. Wow, it's huge. Xiao Wu's eyes widened as she stepped inside, her voice filled with awe. The reception hall alone was 3 times the size of the academy's cafeteria. Xiao Wu, do you like big things? Yi Feng asked with a teasing smile. Of course. Who doesn't like big things? Xiao Wu responded without hesitation. Including everything, Yi Feng smirked. Obviously, Xiao Wu said proudly. As a 100,000-year-old spirit beast in human form, Xiao Wu was quick-witted. A second later, she caught on to the double meaning in Yi Feng's words, and her face flushed red. Ha ha ha, Yi Feng couldn't help but laugh. What the hell are you laughing at? Xiao Wu shot him a glare. Nothing, I just realized you really like big things, Yi Feng said with a mischievous grin. Xiao Wu's eyes narrowed. She was now certain that Yi Feng was up to something. As the thought fully formed in her mind, her blush deepened, and she turned her gaze away, mumbling, "What do you know, you damn brat? Who the hell are you calling small?" Yi Feng shot back. Hey, wait a minute, Yi Feng. Just as Yi Feng and Xiao Wu were messing around, a familiar voice called out. Yi Feng turned toward the voice and saw Su Yuntao walking toward them. Out of respect, Yi Feng greeted, "Uncle Su Yuntao." Yi Feng, you're not here for a spirit evaluation too, are you? Su Yuntao asked curiously. Yeah, is there someone else getting evaluated today? Yi Feng asked. There is. Funny enough, Tang San, your village buddy, is here too. Come on, I'll take you to see Matthew. Following Su Yuntao, Yi Feng and Xiao Wu arrived at a large hall at the end of the corridor. The place was spacious, covering about 200 square meters. The walls were embedded with countless fist-sized black stones, and in the center of the room stood a massive blue crystal ball. Near the crystal ball, an old man stood beside a familiar figure, Tang San. Xiao Wu, Yi Feng. Tang San turned to them, surprised. You guys are here for a spirit evaluation too? Yeah, Yi Feng nodded. TCH, why are you even talking to him? Xiao Wu huffed, still clearly pissed. Xiao Wu, Tang San's still young. His teacher isn't all that great either. We can't really blame him for what happened today, Yi Feng said, throwing Tang San a bone. HMPH, Xiao Wu scoffed, clearly still holding a grudge. Matthew, this is the kid I told you about. He was born with full innate spirit power at level 20, but his martial spirit is a pair, Su Yuntao explained. Yuntao, are you sure this kid is here for an advancement appraisal and not just a spirit awakening? Matthew eyed Yi Feng doubtfully. I'm damn sure, I was the one who awakened his martial spirit. Just do the damn evaluation. I gotta go, I have a date with Cece, Su Yuntao said before turning on his heel and walking out. Alright, who's going first? Matthew looked between Yi Feng and Xiao Wu. Xiao Wu, you go ahead, Yi Feng said with a smile. Alright, Xiao Wu nodded and turned to Matthew. What do I need to do? Summon your martial spirit and release your spirit rings. Then, inject your spirit power into this big crystal ball so I can assess your level. Theoretically, you should be at level 11. Before Matthew could finish his sentence, his expression froze as he stared at Xiao Wu in disbelief. Level 12, your spirit power actually reached level 12. Matthew blurted out in shock. Yeah, that sounds about right, Xiao Wu muttered to herself. Based on her experience as a spirit beast, she had already sensed her spirit power was at level 12, so she wasn't surprised. Kid, what kind of spirit beast did you hunt to get your first spirit ring? Matthew asked, intrigued. It was a soft bone rabbit, Xiaowu said, her eyes flickering. A soft bone rabbit, no wonder your spirit power jumped by 2 levels. That sneaky little species, it really suits you, though, both your martial spirit and your spirit ring match, Matthew mused before turning to Yifeng. Alright, your turn, kid. Xiaowu stepped aside, while Tang San lingered nearby. Yifeng followed the instructions and summoned his martial spirit. His transparent, jade-like spirit now bore 3 distinct colors, yellow, light blue, and blue, while the 3 cores in the center radiated in the same shades. 3 spirit rings, over level 30, you're a spirit elder. Matthew was absolutely floored. Kid, you already have 3 spirit rings, and they're all standard configurations. Yep, Yifeng nodded. But wait, Su Yuntao said your innate spirit power was level 20. You're only 6 years old, how the hell do you have 3 spirit rings already? Matthew asked, dumbfounded. My teacher said my innate spirit power wasn't level 20, it was actually level 30. Uncle Su Yuntao just misjudged me at the time, Yifeng explained. That wasn't a misjudgment, that was fucking blindness, Matthew scoffed, shaking his head at Su Yuntao's incompetence. He took a deep breath and asked, alright, what kind of spirit beasts did you hunt for your rings? Your power level is way too high. My first spirit ring came from a violent gorilla, my second from a snow eagle, and my third from a 1,700-year-old Luoshui spirit bamboo, Yifeng answered truthfully. No wonder, those are all rare and tough spirit beasts. Wait a damn minute, your martial spirit is a plant type, so how the hell did you absorb an animal-type spirit ring? Are you sure you're not mistaken? Matthew asked in disbelief. I'm not mistaken, Grandpa Matthew. My teacher found records in ancient texts stating that spirit masters with plant, animal, and weapon spirits can absorb spirit rings from different types of spirit beasts, Yifeng explained. On the side, Tang San stood there, dumbfounded. He couldn't help but interrupt, Yifeng, your teacher really said that? Of course, Yifeng nodded without hesitation. Tang San was stunned. He clearly remembered that this was his teacher Yu Xiaobing's so-called martial spirit mimicry theory. But Yifeng claimed it was documented in ancient texts, which meant, Yu Xiaobing was just a fucking fraud, stealing the wisdom of predecessors and claiming it as his own. If that wasn't being a goddamn thief, then what was? Who is your teacher? Matthew asked. Everyone calls him Sword Douluo, Yifeng replied. Sword Douluo, the guardian Douluo of the 7 treasures glazed tile sect, Sword Douluo Chen Xin. Matthew's expression shifted drastically. When he saw Yifeng nod, his face was full of envy. He continued, kid, I didn't expect you to be under a title Douluo. I guess you have no plans to join the Spirit Hall, huh? My teacher didn't make me join the 7 treasures glazed tile sect. He said my future is my own choice. But for now, I'm doing fine at Notting Academy, so I don't feel like leaving, Yifeng replied. That makes sense. Even the Spirit Hall has no reason to barge into Notting Academy and snatch people. What about you, Xiaowu? Are you willing to join the Spirit Hall? Matthew turned his gaze toward her. Wherever Yifeng goes, I go, Xiaowu answered. Matthew shook his head helplessly. This girl is still a kid. That's a childish answer if I've ever heard one. What about you, Tang San? Matthew asked. I'm already studying at Notting Academy, Tang San declined. Damn it, Matthew sighed and shook his head in frustration. It's all Su Yuntao's fault. That idiot should have brought all of you straight to the Spirit Hall. He rubbed his temples before continuing, well, your evaluation is done. From now on, Xiaowu and Tang San, you are officially recognized as Spirit Masters of the Heaven Do Empire. As for you, Yifeng, you are now a recognized Spirit Grand Master. You can all collect your monthly stipends from the Spirit Hall with these badges I'm about to give you. Tang San and Xiaowu, as newly recognized Spirit Masters, will receive 1 gold spirit coin per month. Yifeng, as a Spirit Grand Master, you'll receive 20 gold spirit coins monthly. After receiving their Spirit Hall badges, Xiaowu, Tang San, and Yifeng left together. As soon as they stepped out, Xiaowu grabbed Yifeng's hand and pulled him away, making sure to put some distance between them and Tang San. Once they were far enough, Yifeng finally asked, Xiaowu, do you really dislike Tang San that much? Xiaowu didn't hesitate. Who the hell would like him? He's a coward and selfish as hell. If I weren't a part-time student, I wouldn't even want to live under the same roof as him. Oh, and since we're getting monthly stipends now, we don't need to be part-time students anymore. That's not happening. You can quit if you want, but I'm staying as a part-time student, Yifeng replied. Why? Xiaowu tilted her head in confusion. You've got that black card with unlimited money, so why bother? Unless, she narrowed her eyes and smirked. Are you actually a young master from some big family, just out here playing poor? Something like that. Yi Feng chuckled. My teacher says training the mind is just as important as training the body. He believes working students, being at the bottom of society, develop strong character. That's why he told me to keep being a part-time student. Xiao Wu rolled her eyes. Well, in that case, I'll stick with you. Let's train our character together, then. After receiving their monthly stipend from the spirit hall, Yi Feng and Xiao Wu treated themselves to a nice meal at a restaurant. Later, they took a leisurely stroll by a man-made lake in Notting City. Yi Feng, I need to talk to you about something, Xiao Wu suddenly said. What's up? Yi Feng asked. Xiao Wu stopped walking and turned to face him directly, her expression unusually serious. Yi Feng, thank you. Her voice was filled with genuine gratitude. For what? Yi Feng asked, raising an eyebrow. For always being with me, she said softly. Yi Feng chuckled. What's with this all of a sudden? He reached out and gently flicked her rabbit ears. They were soft, smooth, and warm to the touch. Xiao Wu's ears were incredibly sensitive, but surprisingly, she didn't flinch or pull away. Yi Feng, you don't have any family, right? And neither do I. We're both orphans. I've always wanted to have someone I could call family. So, how about I be your sister? Xiao Wu suggested. Ah, Yi Feng looked at her in surprise. Wait, in the original storyline, Xiao Wu and Tang San became sworn siblings. But now, with me here, she wants to be my sister instead. What's with that face? You don't want to? Xiao Wu frowned. It's not that, but why do you get to be the big sister and I have to be the little brother? Yi Feng smirked. I'm a lady, duh. So obviously, I'm the older one. Now hurry up and call me, big sister, a few times. Xiao Wu grinned playfully. Hell no. By age, you're human. Age is younger than mine. By academy ranking, I'm still the boss of Dormitory 7. And by Spirit Master ranking, I'm a Spirit Grand Master, while you're just a regular Spirit Master. At the very least, you should be calling me Big Brother, Yi Feng argued with a grin. HMPH, I want to be the big sister. Can't you just let me have this? Xiao Wu pouted and crossed her arms, giving him a sulky glare. This is about principles. Yi Feng kept a straight face. If I were the younger brother, that would mean you have to protect me. But if I were the big brother, then it's my responsibility to protect you. Xiao Wu was stunned for a moment. Are you serious? Of course, this is important. Yi Feng's tone was firm. Xiao Wu hesitated, then asked in a low voice, then, if one day, a lot of people come after me, trying to kill me, and you can't beat them, what then? Yi Feng answered without hesitation. Then they'll have to step over my dead body before they can even touch you. His voice was calm but unwavering, like an unshakable promise. He reached out and gently ruffled her hair. Are you talking about your identity as a spirit beast? Xiao Wu's breath hitched. Her body stiffened as she took a step back, eyes wide with shock. She stammered, how do you know? You forgot I have a master who's a titled douluo, Yi Feng said casually. He told me that while transformed spirit beasts can hide from regular spirit masters, they can't fool a spirit douluo or a titled douluo. My master saw through you immediately. Xiao Wu's hands trembled slightly. Then, do you want to kill me? Take my spirit ring and my spirit bone? She asked, her voice filled with fear. Yi Feng sighed and shook his head. Wrong. If anything, I just want to squeeze you and keep you all to myself. There's no way I'd kill such a cute little, rabbit. Just having you around is already a blessing. His eyes were filled with nothing but warmth. Xiao Wu's face turned red with anger. You bastard, you're treating me like a damn pet. She raised her tiny fists to punch him, but before she could land a hit, Yi Feng caught her hand with a smirk. Xiao Wu, are you willing to be my sister? He looked into her eyes seriously. If you do, then not only will you have me protecting you, but my teacher, a titled douluo, and even the entire Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect will have your back. Their eyes locked. Xiao Wu saw nothing but sincerity in Yi Feng's gaze. After a moment, she sighed and muttered, fine, but only as your sister. Not your pet rabbit. The peaceful days lasted for a month. After Xiao Wu recognized Yi Feng as her relative, Chen Xin came to Notting Academy again. When Chen Xin arrived at Notting Academy, he heard from others that someone had bullied his disciple, Yi Feng. As a result, Xiao Xiao, who had bullied Yi Feng, was crippled that day after having his tendons cut. If the vice president of Notting Academy had not gone to the Seven Treasures Glazed Tile sect to apologize, the vice president of Notting Academy would have suffered the same fate. Chen Xin came to Yi Feng this time because he had already found out that there was indeed a mountain covered by poisonous fog in the Sunset Forest. In other words, Chen Xin had found Dugu Bo's medicine garden. Xiao Wu was already Yi Feng's relative. At Yi Feng's request, Chen Xin agreed to take Xiao Wu along with him. Yi Feng was now a spirit master over level 30, and he was a treasure to Notting Academy. When the dean of Notting Academy heard that Yi Feng was going to leave the academy for a while, he immediately agreed. For the dean of Notting Academy, as long as Yi Feng didn't want to drop out, everything could be discussed. Yi Feng was a spirit master over level 30 at the age of 6, and with a titled douluo master, he would definitely become a titled douluo in the future. When the time came, Notting Academy would be honored to have Yi Feng's name attached to their records. In fact, the dean of Notting Academy had already had Yi Feng's portrait hung on the academy's celebrity wall. Yi Feng could only accept this honor helplessly. After all, he was the youngest spirit master in the history of the spirit master world. Yi Feng and Xiao Wu followed Chen Xin to a natural spirit beast forest closest to Tiando City. This forest was the famous Sunset Forest. With Chen Xin's company, the surrounding spirit beasts didn't dare to attack them. One day after entering the forest, Yi Feng and Xiao Wu arrived at the foot of a hill about 500 meters high. The hill was unusual, with a thick layer of poisonous miasma lingering at the foot. Through the poisonous fog, the outline of the hill could be vaguely seen. Yi Feng and Xiao Wu sat on Chen Xin's 7-killing sword and avoided the poisonous fog outside the hill. From their vantage point, they could see a huge bowl-shaped pit. Thick hot air came out from the bottom of the pit, and the smell of sulfur filled the surrounding space. The bottom of the pit wasn't a volcano but a hot spring in the center. The hot spring was oval in shape, with milky white and vermilion colors inside. What was even more bizarre was that these two colors were clearly separated in the spring water and did not mix, just like a Tai Chi room. What a weird hot spring, Xiao Wu couldn't help but murmur. Xiao Wu wanted to go forward and try the hot spring water, but Chen Xin reached out to stop her. When Xiao Wu first met Chen Xin, she was timid toward him. But after spending some time with him, Xiao Wu realized that Chen Xin was actually a good person. Especially when she realized that he had no hostility toward her, she relaxed her guard against him. Be careful, those springs are poisonous, Chen Xin said. That's right, that's the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, Yi Feng said excitedly. You actually know it, Chen Xin looked at Yi Feng in surprise. He remembered that he had not taught Yi Feng anything about the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire. Yi Feng was stunned, realizing he had said something he shouldn't have. He rolled his eyes and replied, there was once a beggar story that described the characteristics of the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire. Beggar. Chen Xin became even more curious. Yeah, a beggar who passed by my village. He told me many legendary stories. One of them was about the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, Yi Feng replied. Oh, Chen Xin responded but didn't think about it deeply. He looked at the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, then at the surrounding medicinal herbs, and continued, hot springs themselves aren't suitable for nourishing plants because they contain too many minerals. But some special plants are different. They need the minerals and heat in the hot springs. What are you going to do next? Many of the plants around here are highly poisonous. Let me take a look first, Yi Feng replied. As a time traveler, Yi Feng wasn't very familiar with medicinal herbs and only knew a few special ones. The plants around the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire were all shapes and sizes, resembling a plant museum. Kiluo tulip. Yi Feng stopped beside a medicinal herb. The medicinal herb was pink. As a time traveler, Yi Feng knew this herb was magical and could evolve martial spirits. Its faint fragrance was refreshing. Snowy swan kiss. Looking forward to it. Coxcomb phoenix sunflower. Yi Feng looked around the medicinal herbs near the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire and found the most valuable ones. Finally, he stopped in front of a white herb. At this moment, Yi Feng had already exerted all his strength to push forward his spirit power, and a layer of light white mist appeared on the surface of his skin. The top of this white herb looked like a large white flower in the shape of an octagon. In the center, there were stamens that sparkled like ice crystals. There was no fragrance, and its location was exactly at the center point of the cold extreme yin spring. Found it, Yi Feng breathed a sigh of relief. This white herb was the star aniseed ice grass. Then, Yi Feng came to the center of the hot yangchang and found a cabbage-shaped plant that was completely fiery red. The flaming apricot is so delicate. Yi Feng smiled happily. Chen Xin followed Yi Feng, worry in his eyes. He looked at the herbs in front of Yi Feng and asked, Disciple, you're not planning to take advantage of them, are you? Yeah, Yi Feng nodded with a smile. Are you sure? This medicinal herb is extremely fiery. If you stand around it for too long, you'll suffer from heat and poison, Chen Xin asked, doubt in his voice. Master, the beggar said that if these two herbs are taken alone, one can't withstand the cold and heat and will die. But if these two herbs are taken together, and coupled with the suppression of the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, it'll be completely feasible. Once successful, one will be immune to both fire and ice, Yi Feng replied. Another beggar. Do you know his name? Chen Xin asked, still worried. He calls himself Tang Jia San Shao, Yi Feng replied with a smile. Tang Jia San Shao, how come I've never heard of him? Chen Xin asked, still concerned. Master, the two medicinal herbs he mentioned have been verified. I want to give it a try, Yi Feng obviously didn't want to talk too much about Tang Jia San Shao, so he changed the topic. No, this is too risky. How can you risk your life to test the words of a person of unknown origin? Chen Xin's tone was calm, but it was full of unquestionable authority. He continued with concern, these two are highly poisonous. If anything goes wrong, I won't be able to save you. Master, Yi Feng called. No, this is not a joke. If you're not careful, your life will be in danger, Chen Xin said firmly. Master, please let me try. Every strong person has to go through all kinds of trials to be born. Once I succeed, I'll be reborn, Yi Feng insisted. No means no, Chen Xin replied. Master, how about, you catch a spirit beast and let us do the experiment? If there's no problem, then you can allow us to train the body the way I said, Yi Feng suggested, his eyes glinting with a clever idea. Fine, Chen Xin responded after a moment of thought. After a while, Chen Xin indeed caught a spirit beast. It was worth mentioning that it was a rabbit, only 10 years old. Yi Feng then asked Chen Xin to use his fifth spirit skill, 10,000 sword returning to one to combine the star aniseed ice grass and fiery apricot together. These two herbs, with completely opposite properties, were neutralized by the skill. Even if someone stood only a meter away, they wouldn't feel the extreme cold or heat. Yi Feng quickly plucked the sparse leaves from both the star aniseed ice grass and the fiery apricot, then forced them into the rabbit's mouth. Xiao Wu couldn't bear to watch and whispered, Yi Feng, aren't we being too cruel? Yi Feng smiled at Xiao Wu, comforting her, don't worry, it'll be fine. As soon as the rabbit consumed the star anise ice grass and fiery apricot, cold and heat symptoms alternated across its body. Yi Feng carried the rabbit over to the yin-yang eye of ice and fire and tossed it into the highly poisonous waters. What followed was miraculous. The star aniseed ice grass, fiery apricot, and the yin-yang eye of ice and fire were all incredibly toxic. The rabbit, thrown into the poisonous water, showed no signs of dying. Instead, it just appeared to be in pain and struggling. After more than 20 minutes, Chen Xin pulled the rabbit from the water. It was alive and well. Chen Xin looked at Yi Feng and asked, is that man called Tang Jia San Shao really just a beggar? Chen Xin couldn't deny that even he didn't know that the combination of the yin-yang eye of ice and fire, fiery apricot, and star aniseed ice grass could fight poison with poison. He intuitively felt that Tang Jia San Shao wasn't someone ordinary. Yi Feng rubbed his nostrils and nodded with a smile, Master, can we start body training now? Yeah, Chen Xin nodded. Xiao Wu, let's begin, Yi Feng urged. You want to take a bath with me? Xiao Wu asked, her face turning red and her tone laced with confusion. Yes, after all, this isn't a place we discovered first. Time's limited, so we should bathe together to save time. Plus, it'll help temper your body. You're a spirit beast, and the age of the spirit rings you obtain is proportional to the strength of your body. If you temper your body like this, your next spirit ring will likely be a purple 1,000-year spirit ring, or even a black 10,000-year one, Yi Feng explained, his excitement evident. As a time traveler, Yi Feng knew the benefits of this method of physical training. In the original story, Tang San was able to obtain a fourth spirit ring with a 10,000-year spirit ring because of this very method. Xiao Wu, a spirit beast, needed to condense her first 6 spirit rings herself. The age of her first 6 rings depended on her physical strength. The stronger her body, the higher the age of the spirit rings she could condense. Yi Feng had learned this information from Chen Xin. The second spirit ring is a 10,000-year spirit ring, Xiao Wu asked eagerly, her excitement growing. Yeah, what are you worried about? Let's start, Yi Feng urged. It's just, there's a difference between men and women, Xiao Wu murmured, still reluctant. I don't care, so why should you? Besides, you're already my family. We're still young. What's the problem with bathing together? Yi Feng smiled, turned around, and stopped pushing her further. Instead, he reached for the leaves of the star aniseed ice grass and fiery apricot, chewed them, and swallowed them down. As the leaves with completely different properties entered his stomach, Yi Feng felt as though he had swallowed a massive ice cube and gulped down boiling water at the same time. Cold, Yi Feng's voice echoed. In the next second, Yi Feng folded his arms, shivering, with ice crystals forming on his body. This lasted only a second. The ice crystals vanished, and Yi Feng's skin began to turn red, as if it were a piece of burning iron. Hot, Yi Feng groaned as the intense heat surged through him. He instinctively activated his spirit power, causing his clothes to burst off, leaving him completely naked. Ah, Xiao Wu screamed, her eyes darting downward curiously before she quickly covered her face, blushing furiously. Yi Feng, stunned by the situation, felt the extreme heat in his body shift into extreme cold. A thin layer of ice crystals covered his skin. Cold, Yi Feng trembled all over. The drastic change from heat to cold caused immense pain, but it also heightened Yi Feng's awareness. Despite the burning pain, Yi Feng ignored the gaps made by his fingers and curiously glanced at Xiao Wu. Without a second thought, he jumped into the yin-yang eye of ice and fire's spring water. The moment he entered the spring, the extreme cold and heat he'd been experiencing were significantly quelled. Though the pain didn't vanish entirely, it was within a bearable range. Xiao Wu, Chen Xin called, turning to Xiao Wu. Whether you want to transform or not is entirely up to you. Chen Xin stopped trying to convince Xiao Wu like Yi Feng had. He stood guard like a sentry, protecting Yi Feng. Xiao Wu hesitated, her gaze shifting from Yi Feng, who was immersing himself in the spring water, to the star anise ice grass and fiery apricot. Her resolve firmed, and she picked the leaves from both herbs. Swallowing them, she too began to experience the alternating hot and cold sensations in her body. Suppressing the pain in her abdomen, Xiao Wu tapped her toes lightly, leapt up, and dove into the spring water of the yin-yang eye of ice and fire. Like Yi Feng, she began her rare transformation. Xiao Wu couldn't help but wonder, after this physical training, would her second spirit ring become a 1,000-year purple spirit ring? I don't know how long it had been since they started practicing. Yi Feng and Xiao Wu would wake up, go ashore, swallow a piece of star anise ice grass and fiery apricot, then jump back into the yin-yang eye of ice and fire to continue their body training. Yi Feng was a man, and Chen Xin was also a man. Even if Yi Feng was naked, he didn't feel embarrassed. Xiao Wu, however, was different. She was a woman, and especially since her consciousness was still that of an old monster who had lived for 100,000 years. Whenever she came ashore, even though Chen Xin had his back to her, she would still blush shyly. When Xiao Wu swallowed the 8-angled mysterious ice grass and the delicate leaves of the fiery apricot and jumped into the yin-yang eye of ice and fire spring, her face became even rosier as she looked at the naked boy in the spring. Days like this went on for quite a while. Yi Feng stood on the shore and looked back at the natural body with rabbit ears in the spring. He couldn't help but feel a heat in his lower abdomen. Yi Feng cursed himself inwardly. What the hell am I thinking? Xiao Wu is still a child, and I'm having thoughts like this about her. Yi Feng took 2 long breaths to calm his hot and impulsive emotions. He took out a set of clothes from the storage soul guide, put them on, and walked over to Chen Xin's side. Chen Xin opened his eyes and asked in surprise, "Aren't you going to continue?" At this point, only half of the star anise ice grass and fiery apricot had been used. Yi Feng could continue to train his body. Yi Feng replied with a smile, "Master, let me protect you from now on. It's time for you to train your body." Chen Xin shook his head and said, "No need. My spirit power has reached level 96 now. Strengthening my body won't help me improve my combat power. You should continue practicing." Yi Feng didn't deny it. Chen Xin was now a title douluo and had obtained 9 spirit rings. He couldn't obtain any more spirit rings. When a spirit master's spirit power reaches level 95, every time his spirit power increases by a small level, his martial spirit evolves. For Chen Xin, what he needed most was to improve his spirit power, not his physical body. "Who are you? Why are you in my medicine garden?" A deep, hoarse voice came from the top of the hill. "He's coming," Chen Xin said. The owner of the voice hadn't arrived yet, but Chen Xin had already recognized the person from his voice. After a while, the owner of the voice came in front of Yi Feng and Chen Xin. The owner of the voice was tall and thin, looking like a javelin. His hair and beard were dark green, and his eyes sparkled like emeralds. This person gave an illusory feeling, as if he were a phantom. His steps were unseen, and soon he stood in front of Yi Feng and Chen Xin. His expression was completely stiff, his cheeks sunken, his green hair messy, and he was wearing a plain gray robe. Although his hands were tucked into his sleeves, his eyes, like those of a venomous snake, were fixed on Yi Feng and Chen Xin. The old man exclaimed in disbelief, "Chen Xin, it's actually you." The old man's voice was filled with a hint of fear. He knew that there were only a handful of people in the Spirit Master world who he couldn't afford to offend. One of them was Chen Xin, known as the Sword Douluo. Chen Xin often accompanied Ning Fengji, and the old man often went in and out of the Tiando royal family. Thus, the old man recognized Chen Xin at a glance. The old man's eyes fell on the star anise ice grass and the fiery apricot, and he cried out in distress, "My immortal herbs. You stole my immortal herbs." Chen Xin said calmly, "Dugu Bo, watch your words. Even if we talk about the owner of Sunset Forest, its owner is the Tiando Empire. And with your abilities, you can't grow these immortal herbs. These immortal herbs can be considered ownerless." Dugu Bo was dissatisfied upon hearing Chen Xin's words, and he argued, "Even so, this is the place I discovered 40 years ago. For 40 years, I have taken care of everything here. Everything here should belong to me." Chen Xin's eyes sharpened, and he said, "So what? It's just eating 2 magical herbs. Do you want to spar with me?" Sparring. Dugu Bo was stunned and looked at Chen Xin with fear. If they really fought, he wouldn't be able to defeat the battle-hungry Chen Xin. "Old senior, I'm really sorry for eating 2 of your magic herbs without your permission. However, I'll give you what you need most," Yi Feng smiled apologetically. You're just a kid, what can you give me? Bo waved his hand and didn't bother with Chen Xin. He impatiently ordered Yifeng and Chen Xin to leave. Old senior, the full moon night is coming soon. You're here to relieve your pain, right? Yifeng asked. Bo's eyes flashed, and he turned to look at Yifeng. He looked him up and down, still urging Yifeng to leave with no worry. What nonsense are you talking about, little kid? Go away quickly. I've told you, I won't bother with you about the magical herbs, Bo urged. Bo called himself Poison and was honored as Poison douluo in the Spirit Master world. If people knew that he was infected by poison, once the Spirit Master world knew, would he still have any face left? So, even if Yifeng was right, Bo wouldn't admit it. Yifeng noticed Bo's eyes. If he were just a 6-year-old child, he wouldn't continue talking to Bo. But even though he looked like a 6-year-old child, his intelligence was far beyond that. He smiled and said, Old senior, every time it's cloudy and rainy, do you feel numbness and itching in your ribs? It happens once at noon and once at midnight. With your condition, it should last for more than an hour each time. Also, every time in the middle of the night, do you feel a tingling pain on the top of your head and the soles of your feet? Old senior, you don't need to hide it from me. Not only have you been poisoned, but the poison has penetrated into your bones. He's poisoned, Chen Xin exclaimed, looking at Bo in surprise. It was such a joke that a person who had been playing with poisons all his life ended up being harmed by them. It seems that I really need to have a sparring match today, Bo's eyes sharpened. Yifeng's words forced him to fight with Chen Xin and keep Yifeng around. What Yifeng said was true. Once these secrets were known by Bo's enemies, and they used them to attack Bo when the poison took effect, the consequences would be disastrous. Yifeng caught the look on Bo's face, reading his thoughts with ease. With a calm smile, he said, Old senior, there's no need to be so hostile. Like I said, after taking 2 of your magical herbs, we'll be giving you something in return, something that will satisfy you. Something that will satisfy me. Bo froze for a moment, his spirit power surging before slowly receding as he mulled over Yifeng's words. His sharp eyes narrowed in thought before he scoffed. Are you saying you can detoxify me? No. Yifeng shook his head. The fuck you say? Bo's voice turned ice cold. Disciple, there's no need to waste your breath on him, Chen Xin interrupted. His voice was calm, but there was an unmistakable sharpness beneath it. He's just a rank 92 titled douluo. I don't even take him seriously. Come on, Bo, let's spar. Spar. Bo sneered, stepping forward as 9 spirit rings appeared beneath him, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 5 black. The air grew tense, thick with the pressure of an impending battle. Chen Xin's hand moved slightly, summoning his martial spirit, the 7-killing sword. But before either of them could make a move, Yifeng quickly stepped between them. Master, don't be impulsive. Old senior, don't misunderstand, Yifeng said, raising his hands to stop them. His gaze landed on Bo as he explained, you're the titled douluo known as Poison douluo. Your entire body is filled with poison. If I were to completely detoxify you, it'd be no different from taking your life. Bo hesitated at those words. The logic was undeniable, his hostility faded slightly as he studied Yifeng. What do you mean? Yifeng continued, the star anise mysterious ice grass and fiery apricot that we consumed, once fully absorbed, will create a miniature yin-yang balance within our bodies. There are 2 ways to resolve your problem. The first method is simple. You eat both of these herbs and use your immense spirit power to absorb their medicinal properties. However, in doing so, your poison will be completely neutralized. I doubt you'd want that, right? Bo frowned but nodded. If he lost his poison, wouldn't that make his entire cultivation useless? What was the point of reaching title douluo if he abandoned what made him strong? What about the second method? He asked. Yifeng smirked. The second method is a bit more complicated, but it allows you to keep your poison. Your problem is that you cultivate poison, yet your martial spirit is a beast spirit. Unlike a tool spirit, your poison fuses directly with your body. Even though your spirit power can suppress it, your human body wasn't meant to handle such toxins long-term. If you want to practice poison techniques without being harmed by them, you just need to store the poison elsewhere. When you need it, you can extract and use it at will. The best places to store your poison: your 6 spirit bones, an external spirit bone, or even your weapon spirit. Bo's mind buzzed as he processed Yifeng's words. His eyes widened slightly as understanding dawned upon him. You're saying I should transfer the poison into my spirit bones. That way, it won't harm me. Exactly, Yifeng nodded, but compared to the first method, this one will take much longer. Bo remained silent for a while, deep in thought. He looked Yifeng up and down, his expression unreadable. It was hard to believe these words came from a 6-year-old child. But they made sense. His gaze flickered toward Chen Xin. Did your master teach you this? Yi Feng glanced at his master before shaking his head. No, these weren't my master's words, nor mine. They came from a beggar named Tang Jia San Shao. Tang Jia San Shao. Dugu Bo frowned, muttering the name under his breath. He searched his memory but found nothing. I don't recall any spirit master with that name. Are you sure he was just a beggar? Yi Feng scratched his nose awkwardly. I don't know. He stayed in my village for a while. I gave him a steamed bun, and in return, he told me these things. He also shared a bunch of strange stories. Dugu Bo stroked his beard thoughtfully. A hidden master, then. Yi Feng simply smiled. Maybe. Dugu Bo let out a deep breath and turned to look at Yi Feng. This time, his expression was much more amicable. Little monster, you've helped me a lot. Tell me, what do you want in return? Yi Feng grinned and gestured toward the star anise mysterious ice grass and fiery apricot nearby. Old senior, haven't I already gotten some benefits? Dugu Bo shook his head. You saved my life, kid. I can't just let that slide without repaying you properly. Tell me, aside from the 2 herbs, what else do you want? Yi Feng scanned the medicine garden, eyes gleaming. There were plenty of immortal herbs here, some of which could greatly benefit his cultivation. He rubbed his chin before saying, well, if you insist, let me pick a few more herbs from your garden. Fine. Dugu Bo agreed without hesitation. Take whatever you want. 10 minutes later, Dugu Bo regretted it. Before him, Yi Feng had gathered more than a dozen immortal herbs, the rarest and most valuable treasures of the entire medicine garden. The realization hit Dugu Bo like a slap to the face. His heart ached, and his mouth twitched violently. Yi Feng, seeing his expression, chuckled and pointed at the remaining herbs. Old senior, I left those for you. If you consume them while meditating here at the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire, not only will they strengthen your body, but you might even be able to obtain a higher-ranked spirit ring. More importantly, you'll gain immunity to both ice and fire. What? Ice and fire immunity? Dugu Bo's eyes widened in shock. His mind instantly jumped to his granddaughter, Dugu Yan. If what Yi Feng said was true, wouldn't that mean she could also gain resistance to ice and fire? Yi Feng, are you still training or what? Xiao Wu's voice suddenly rang out. Yi Feng blinked. He had almost forgotten about her. Hearing Xiao Wu's voice, Dugu Bo turned toward the sound. His sharp eyes locked onto her, and his expression changed. She's a spirit beast. At that moment, a system notification echoed in Yi Feng's mind. Ding. Congratulations. You've altered the storyline of douluo. You informed Dugu Bo of a way to suppress his poison and took several immortal herbs that originally belonged to Tang San. Reward. 180 attribute points. 5 years later. Barak Kingdom, Soto City. Soto City, the capital of Barak Kingdom, one of the 4 kingdoms of the Tiando Empire. It was the hottest time of the year, and the sun was scorching. The streets were nearly empty, with few pedestrians willing to endure the sweltering heat. 3 teenagers made their way down the street, a young woman and 2 young men. The girl had long black hair braided into a scorpion braid that reached all the way to her calves. She wore a pink top that accentuated her growing figure. While her curves were not yet fully developed, her slender waist made her look incredibly graceful, enough to make anyone want to wrap their arms around it. One of the young men was about 1.7 meters tall, with a belt inlaid with 24 jade stones wrapped around his waist. A faint, confident smile always lingered on his face. The other young man was taller, with black hair and deep black eyes. His features were strikingly handsome. Despite being a man, he wore a jade bracelet inlaid with gold threads on his wrist, adding a unique touch to his appearance. These 3 were none other than Xiao Wu, Tang San, and Yi Feng. I really don't get what your teacher was thinking, Tang San, Xiao Wu pouted as she glanced at Tang San, who walked slightly apart from her. Then, she turned to Yi Feng, who was walking alongside her, and continued complaining. And you, Yi Feng. We had so many decent intermediate academies offering us full scholarships, yet you actually want to follow Tang San into some shitty, no-name Shrek Academy. Yi Feng chuckled, glancing at Xiao Wu. He could tell she was nervous. Deep down, she was terrified of stepping into Shrek Academy. Her real concern, the possibility of high-level spirit masters, soul douluo or even titled douluo, being present. If that were the case, her spirit beast identity might be exposed. Ever since Yi Feng and Xiao Wu had used the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire to temper their bodies, something had changed. Back in Dugu Bo's medicinal garden, the old man had figured out that Xiao Wu was a spirit beast. However, due to Yi Feng's connection with Chen Xin, Dugu Bo had hesitated. He knew that if he acted against Xiao Wu, there was no way Chen Xin would let him or his granddaughter, Dugu Yan, live. Dugu Bo was powerful, but he wasn't stupid. Even if he killed Xiao Wu and took her spirit bone, Dugu Yan wouldn't be alive long enough to enjoy it. In the end, he held back. Now, as they approached Shrek Academy, Xiao Wu was nervous as hell. What if the academy had strong spirit masters? Sensing her unease, Yi Feng reached out and held her hand. Xiao Wu's rabbit-like ears twitched, her face immediately turning bright red. She stared at Yi Feng in a daze. Yi Feng smiled and said, "Master always told me, cultivation is up to the individual. We could have picked any academy, so why not just pick one at random?" Xiao Wu pouted, still feeling uneasy. "We shouldn't be picking a random, no-name academy. We don't even know how strong Shrek Academy is." Yi Feng laughed, knowing exactly what she was worried about. He reassured her, "Relax. Tang San's teacher told me Shrek Academy only has 5 teachers, 3 spirit emperors and 2 spirit saints." Xiao Wu blinked in surprise. 3 spirit emperors, 2 spirit saints. That's it. Yeah, Yi Feng nodded firmly. Xiao Wu rolled her eyes and let out a sigh of relief. Finally, she gave in. "Fine, then, we'll go to Shrek Academy. But I'm exhausted from walking all day. Let's find a place to stay and look for the academy tomorrow." "Sounds good to me," Yi Feng grinned. "How about that hotel?" Xiao Wu pointed toward a 3-story building at the end of the street. The hotel's exterior was elegant and romantic, designed to resemble a giant rosé. It had a unique charm that stood out in the city. "Rose Hotel," Yi Feng muttered. A familiar plotline surfaced in his mind. It even has a nice scent." Xiao Wu sniffed the air and seemed even more satisfied. Inside the Rose Hotel. Walking inside, they were immediately hit by a refreshing aroma. The interior was decorated with white, silver, and rose-red tones, giving it a warm yet noble ambiance. As they approached the front desk, the receptionist smiled politely. "Sir, are you sure you want 2 rooms? Yeah, is that a problem?" "I'm sorry, sir," the receptionist said with an awkward expression. "We only have 1 room left." The moment those words left his mouth, his eyes flickered with amusement. He glanced at Yi Feng, Xiao Wu, and Tang San, clearly misunderstanding their relationship. Yi Feng sighed internally. This was a couple's hotel, a place where lovers came for fun. The receptionist was obviously lying about there being only 1 room left. It was a common trick to push guests into booking rooms together. From the look in the receptionist's eyes, Yi Feng could tell exactly what he was thinking. This dude, he's got 2. A girl and a guy. Is he into both? Damn, a 3-way. Now that's next level. Yi Feng's expression twitched as he realized how badly he was being misunderstood. Before he could even explain, a deep voice sounded from behind them. "I believe that room should be mine. Dai Mubai." The name immediately surfaced in Yi Feng's mind. All 3 of them turned around at the same time. A tall, well-built young man approached the counter, accompanied by 2 women. He had striking double pupils, giving his gaze a unique intensity. The 2 women beside him looked about 17 or 18, with elegant dresses that highlighted their identical features. Twins. Dai Mubai ignored Tang San and Yi Feng completely. His sharp gaze lingered on Xiao Wu for a moment, and a subtle glint of appreciation flashed in his eyes. Clearly, he was impressed by her beauty. Casually, Dai Mubai leaned against the counter, glaring at the receptionist. "New here." The receptionist hesitated. And you are?" Dai Mubai's expression darkened. "Get your manager, now." The receptionist's heart skipped a beat. Without hesitation, he scurried away to find the hotel manager. Meanwhile, Yi Feng stood there, deep in thought. He was debating whether to step aside and let Dai Mubai take the last room. If he gave up the room, he'd be changing a small part of the storyline, which might earn him attribute points. But on the other hand, if he didn't give up the room, he'd have to share a room with Xiao Wu. A rare opportunity, a very tempting one. "I say, it seems like we were the first to arrive here," Xiao Wu reminded. "So what?" Dai Mubai shot back arrogantly, not even sparing her a proper look. It was clear as day, he didn't take her seriously. "Not very good," Xiao Wu said coldly. "I told you to get the fuck out." Dai Mubai laughed, his voice dripping with arrogance. "Damn, not many people dare talk to me like that. Alright, since you got the guts, come at me. All of you, together if you want." He folded his arms, giving Xiao Wu a mocking glance. "I'll even give you a chance. Make me leave, or show me exactly what the words, 'get out,' mean." "Let me handle this, Xiao Wu." Tang San stepped forward, trying to place himself between Xiao Wu and Dai Mubai. Xiao Wu had always been skeptical of Tang San, and the way she looked at him now was full of disdain. In Tang San's mind, he figured this was because he had been too hesitant in the past, making him seem weak to her. He saw this as the perfect chance to change her opinion. Xiao Wu, however, wasn't having it. She stepped forward, shaking her head. "He told me to get out, so I'll be the one to handle this." Boom. Xiao Wu stomped the ground, and 3 spirit rings rose around her, 1 yellow, 2 purple. A Millennium Spirit Ring. Dai Mubai's eyes widened in shock. A Spirit Master's typical first 2 rings were yellow, yet Xiao Wu's second and third rings were both purple, proof they were from 1,000-year-old spirit beasts. Not only that, but her second ring had 4 distinct purple lines, marking it as a 4,000-year-old spirit ring. Her third ring was even more terrifying, 8 lines, signifying over 8,000 years. The truth was, Xiaowu was a spirit beast herself, and her first 6 rings had been condensed through cultivation. After being tempered by the 8-angled mysterious ice grass, the fiery apricot, and the ice and fire yin-yang eyes, her second and third spirit rings had evolved into formidable 1,000-year-old ones. Xiaowu caught Dai Mubai's shocked expression and smirked. What's wrong? Scared? If you are, then go ahead and show me what getting out looks like. Dai Mubai's face darkened. As the third prince of the Xinglo Empire, how could he possibly back down? He slammed his foot into the ground, and a pale golden light erupted from his body. Muscles bulged, bones cracked as they stretched, and 3 spirit rings materialized at his feet, 2 yellow, 1 purple. Oh, Xiaowu's eyes gleamed with interest, before she chuckled, realizing something. So you're a rank 30 spirit master. Good, let's go. If I were afraid of you, I wouldn't be called Xiaowu. Dai Mubai's eyes flickered with amusement. So your name is Xiaowu. Well then, Dai Mubai, White Tiger Martial Spirit, rank 37 Battle Spirit Master. Let's see what you've got. Xiaowu, Rabbit Martial Spirit, rank 33 Battle Spirit Master. Second Spirit Skill, Charm. Xiaowu's second spirit ring glowed purple, and her eyes took on a pink hue. Dai Mubai, foolishly meeting her gaze, was immediately trapped. His whole body stiffened, and his eyes turned dull. What made this even worse for him was the fact that Xiaowu's second spirit ring was a 4,000-year-old one. The strength of control-type abilities increased with the spirit ring's age. Because her ring was so powerful, Dai Mubai was locked in place longer than he would have been if she had only had a 100-year-old ring. First spirit skill, Waist Bow. Xiaowu moved in a blur, closing the distance between them. With a graceful leap, she delivered a devastating kick to Dai Mubai's chest. Her first spirit skill, Waist Bow, amplified her waist strength by 100% and increased her flexibility by 50%. For every level beyond rank 10, the effect increased by 1%. At rank 33, her boost was a staggering 123%. Bang! Dai Mubai was sent flying like a broken kite, crashing straight into the hotel wall. A spiderweb of cracks spread out around the impact. Just looking at it was enough to make anyone wince in sympathy. Xiaowu casually flicked her bangs, a smug grin on her lips. Well, that was easy. Let's wrap this up. Mr. Dai, the twin sisters gasped in horror. As soon as they snapped out of their shock, they rushed forward, helping Dai Mubai out of the wall. Dai Mubai's eyes burned with fury as he glared at Xiaowu, teeth clenched. But in the end, he let out a sharp breath and growled, "Let's go." Ghost Shadow Steps. Just as Dai Mubai turned to leave, Tang San suddenly moved, his body flickering like a shadow as he blocked Dai Mubai's path. What the hell do you think you're doing? Dai Mubai barked. Tang San's expression was calm. Nothing much, but let's be real, if we had lost just now, you would have kicked us out without hesitation. Now that the tables have turned, it's only fair that you demonstrate the meaning of the words, "Get out." Tang San took a sidelong glance at Xiaowu, and sure enough, she was staring at him with surprise. Her expression had softened, and she was clearly starting to see him in a better light. You, don't push it, Dai Mubai growled. If she hadn't caught me off guard, I wouldn't have lost. If you insist on pushing me, I won't hold back. If you want to fight, then let's fight, Tang San replied with a smirk. He was determined to prove himself to Xiaowu, and if that meant going another round, so be it. You're really not worth our time. Before things could escalate further, Yi Feng finally spoke up. Dai Mubai turned to him, frowning. But then, Yi Feng's spirit rings appeared, 4 in total, shining brilliantly in the air. Yellow, purple, and black. A 10,000-year spirit ring. Dai Mubai's breath hitched, his face going pale. This guy was clearly younger than him by at least 3 or 4 years, yet he was already a rank 40 spirit master, soul sect level. And his 4th spirit ring was black, which meant over 10,000 years old. You want me to get out too? Dai Mubai's fists clenched, but this time, there was hesitation in his eyes. Dai Mubai was proud, too proud to ever bow his head. But at the same time, he wasn't stupid. Losing to Xiaowu was one thing, but Yi Feng, a spirit sect with a 10,000-year ring, that was an entirely different level of power. You can leave now, Yi Feng said, dismissing him with a wave. Just remember, there's always someone stronger out there. Maybe don't act like such an arrogant asshole next time. Dai Mubai locked eyes with him for a moment, before exhaling sharply. Without another word, he turned and left, supported by the twin sisters. Ding dong. At that moment, the system's voice rang in Yi Feng's mind. Congratulations, you have overturned the original storyline. You scared off the evil-eyed white tiger, Dai Mubai. Reward. 10 attribute points to be allocated at will. Yi Feng had handled Dai Mubai, and since there was only one room available in the Rose Hotel, Tang San suggested giving it to Yi Feng. After all, Yi Feng was the boss of Dormitory 7. Tang San and Xiao Wu could find another hotel to stay in. However, Yi Feng immediately rejected this idea. His reasoning was simple: the hotel room was big enough for 2 or 3 people to stay comfortably. If Tang San wanted to find another hotel, that was his choice. But Yi Feng turned to Xiao Wu and asked if she wanted to find another place too. Xiao Wu shook her head. "I'll stay with you for the night. After all, back in Notting Academy, we used to share a room." With that settled, Tang San left, and Yi Feng grabbed the room key, following the waiter's directions. As they walked down the hallway, Yi Feng suddenly stopped in his tracks. Xiao Wu, blushing, looked at him in confusion. "Brother, what are you doing?" Yi Feng pointed ahead, his face completely innocent. "Opening the door." With that, he inserted the key and pushed the door open. The moment they stepped inside, Xiao Wu froze. The room was enormous. The living area alone was over 50 square meters. But what really caught her attention was the bed. It was massive, big enough for at least 3 people to sleep on comfortably. Yi Feng glanced at Xiao Wu, raising an eyebrow. "Look, there's a phrase written on the wall. 1001 nights, you are my only one. And the whole place is decorated with roses. Why does this feel like a spot for lovers to hook up?" Xiao Wu's face turned even redder, but she stepped forward, avoiding Yi Feng's gaze. "Brother, isn't it nice to have a beautiful room? You're not the type to be all uptight. As long as it's comfortable, who cares? It smells so nice in here. The setup is beautiful too. I think I kinda like it." She twirled around with a playful smile before adding, "Brother, it's not even that expensive. Only 10 gold spirit coins per night. Maybe we should come here more often." Yi Feng sighed, shaking his head with a bitter smile. He was about 90% sure now, Xiao Wu had a crush on him. 10 gold spirit coins isn't expensive, he scoffed. "If you really want to stay here often, you can just come by yourself." Xiao Wu spun around, raising an eyebrow at him. She jabbed a finger into his chest, her tone scolding. "I'm talking about us, you idiot. What's the point of staying here alone? Brother, sometimes you're really dense. How the hell are you gonna get a wife in the future if you're like this? Honestly, sometimes I even wonder if you're really a man." Yi Feng's face darkened. He narrowed his eyes at her. "Say that again, I dare you." Xiao Wu grinned, completely unfazed. "What, afraid it's true? Brother, don't tell me you're actually." Before she could finish, Yi Feng had already closed the distance between them. Their eyes locked, and suddenly, the atmosphere shifted. For a brief moment, neither of them spoke. Then, almost instinctively, Yi Feng leaned in. Xiao Wu's teasing smile faded as she felt the tension between them. Her heart pounded, but she didn't move away. Yi Feng's breath grew heavier as his lips inched closer to hers. And then, their lips met. The world around them seemed to blur, a fire igniting between them as an unfamiliar yet thrilling sensation spread through their bodies. The kiss lasted for 10 whole seconds before Yi Feng suddenly snapped back to reality. He pulled away, eyes wide, looking like a kid who had just stolen from a candy shop. I just, Yi Feng stammered, completely at a loss for words. Xiao Wu, her face flushed, didn't hesitate. She reached forward, wrapped her arms around his waist, and pulled him back in. Their lips met once again, and this time, there was no hesitation. The next morning, Soto City was already bustling with activity. The streets were packed with merchants, travelers, and everyday citizens going about their lives. Amidst the crowd, a young boy and girl walked hand in hand, their fingers intertwined as they strolled through the city. Soto City was far livelier than Notting Academy's small town, filled with countless shops and vendors. Xiao Wu, full of excitement, dragged Yi Feng from one clothing store to the next. Now that their relationship had taken a step forward, the thin barrier between them had disappeared completely. Whenever Xiao Wu found a piece of clothing she liked, Yi Feng would naturally step up to pay for it. As they walked, Yi Feng suddenly let out a small exclamation. "Huh." Xiao Wu turned to him, curious. "What's wrong?" Yi Feng pointed toward a shop sign ahead. Engraved on the circular sign were several special symbols: a sword, a hammer, and a blue lightning dragon. It was a spirit master's shop. Yi Feng's eyes lit up. "Let's check it out." Xiao Wu nodded and pulled him inside. The interior of the shop was dimly lit, with an odd energy fluctuating in the air. This was a place that sold spirit tools. At the center of the shop, a middle-aged man in glasses lay on a rocking chair. He appeared to be dozing off, but Yi Feng could tell he wasn't actually asleep. This man was Flender, also known as the Flying Horn of the Golden Triangle. Yi Feng's gaze swept across the store until he finally spotted what he was looking for. A plate crystal the size of a human head, sitting inconspicuously on a shelf. Yi Feng's heart skipped a beat. Jackpot. This meant Tang San hadn't been here yet. In the original story, Tang San had discovered a rare hidden weapon, the Dragon Beard Needle, worth 10,000 gold spirit coins in this very shop. Suppressing his excitement, Yi Feng casually asked, Xiao Wu, should we head over to Shrek Academy this afternoon? No, let's go tomorrow morning, Xiao Wu replied. Shrek Academy is in the outskirts of Soto City, and it takes a few hours to walk there. These next few days are the registration period, so there's no rush. Yi Feng nodded. All right, we'll go tomorrow. As they spoke, Yi Feng subtly glanced at Flender. Though the man still appeared to be asleep, Yi Feng noticed his rocking chair pause for just a split second. A smirk tugged at Yi Feng's lips. This shop might hold more surprises than he expected. Yi Feng walked over to the corner and picked up the crystal plate he had set his sights on earlier. Xiao Wu followed closely, her curiosity piqued. She frowned and asked, Yi Feng, why are you looking at that old, beat-up crystal? That thing's worthless. Only purple crystals are worth something. Don't tell me, you're actually planning to buy it. Yi Feng grinned. I don't know how much it's worth, so I figured I'd ask. Take it, no charge, a calm voice chimed in. Xiao Wu blinked in surprise and turned toward Flanders, who was still lazily rocking in his chair. Did you just say it's free? She asked, stunned. Yep, Flanders replied, not even bothering to open his eyes. Xiao Wu glanced at the crystal in Yi Feng's hand. While it wasn't a purple crystal, it wasn't exactly worthless either. On the market, it could easily fetch more than a dozen gold SP. Irrit coins. You sure about that? She pressed, still finding it hard to believe. Flanders waved a hand dismissively. Yeah, just take it. It's not worth anything to me anyway. Xiao Wu's eyes sparkled. She grabbed Yi Feng's hand and practically dragged him out of the shop. Yi Feng let himself be pulled along, chuckling. Damn, Xiao Wu, why the rush? She turned to him with a smug grin. That crystal's worth at least a dozen gold spirit coins. He said it's free, so why stick around? What if he changes his mind? Ding, congratulations, you have altered the original storyline. You obtained the Dragon Beard Needle hidden weapon before Tang San and got a freebie from the swindler Flanders. Reward: 15 distributable attribute points. Back at the hotel, Yi Feng closed the door and turned to Xiao Wu with a serious expression. Alright, close the door. Xiao Wu hesitated. Close the door. You don't mean. Her cheeks flushed red. Yi Feng blinked in confusion. What the hell are you thinking? I just need to test something. He reached for the jade bracelet storage spirit guide on his wrist and pulled out the crystal from Flanders' shop. That bracelet was the only thing his mother had left him. Xiao Wu sighed in relief, nodded, and shut the door. Yi Feng placed the crystal on the table, then clenched his fists. His muscles tensed as he focused. Name: Yi Feng. Spirit power: level 48. Martial spirits: Xuanyuan sword, nine-hearted mysterious tang, eye of hell. Spirit rings: none. Spirit skills: none, currently comprehending the unity of man and sword. Additional strength: 159. Additional agility: 140. Additional spirit: 10. Additional defense: 10. Distributable attribute points: 0. His strength had skyrocketed. His original 54 additional strength points had already given him the raw power of 5 bulls, comparable to a power-type spirit master over level 20. Now, with 159 points, he was on par with a power-type spirit master over level 40. But more importantly, boom, Yi Feng slammed his fist onto the crystal. It shattered instantly, and countless golden threads shot into the air, glowing brilliantly. Quick, Xiao Wu, help me gather them. Yi Feng instructed. Xiao Wu hurriedly collected the floating golden beads, but curiosity got the best of her. Brother, what are these? They don't look like gold, why are you so excited? These aren't just ordinary gold beads, Yi Feng explained, his eyes gleaming. They're hidden weapons, Dragon Beard Needles. Xiao Wu tilted her head. Dragon Beard Needles. Some crystals develop golden threads inside due to environmental influences. When broken, they form these golden beads. If infused with spirit power, the beads transform back into ultra-thin golden threads, sharper than a razor. These things can pierce through the protective chi of beast martial spirit users, paralyzing them on impact. After hitting, they revert back into beads, leaving the opponent helpless. To demonstrate, Yi Feng flicked a golden thread toward the bed. It sank into the sheets, instantly curling them up. The fabric twisted and tore apart. Xiao Wu gasped. She climbed onto the bed and carefully pulled out the embedded thread. Yi Feng, meanwhile, suddenly froze. Shit. Xiao Wu was kneeling on the bed, her back facing him as she retrieved the thread. She was wearing a short skirt, and from this angle. Yi Feng swallowed hard and quickly averted his gaze. Xiao Wu turned around, oblivious to his dilemma. Brother, what's wrong? Yi Feng coughed awkwardly. Xiao Wu, are you tired? A little, she admitted. If you're tired, let's rest for a bit, he suggested, voice low. Xiao Wu's eyes widened. Now, yeah, Yi Feng said, wrapping an arm around her waist. He leaned in closer, their faces mere inches apart. Xiao Wu's cheeks burned, but she didn't resist. Their relationship had already changed. She wasn't going to pull away now. She closed her eyes, anticipation written all over her face. The next morning, the sun had barely risen when Yi Feng, Xiao Wu, and Tang San set off toward Shrek Academy for registration. The academy was on the outskirts of Soto City, and the journey would take at least 2 hours on foot. About halfway through, Xiao Wu huffed, clearly exhausted. Yi Feng, carry me, she demanded. Yi Feng didn't hesitate. He crouched slightly and said with a grin, hop on. Blushing, Xiao Wu climbed onto his back, wrapping her arms around his neck. Tang San, walking beside them, watched the scene silently. A flicker of disappointment crossed his eyes. I guess there's no chance for me and Xiao Wu anymore. As they walked, Tang San noticed something odd. Xiao Wu's face was still flushed, her breathing a little quick. Xiao Wu, are you feeling hot? He asked with concern. Ah, Xiao Wu tensed up, panic flashing in her eyes. Your face is really red, and you're breathing kinda heavy. You sure you're okay? Tang San pressed. No, I'm fine. Xiao Wu stammered. Then, in a desperate attempt to change the subject, she turned to Tang San and ordered, you're not carrying anyone, so you go ahead and lead the way. Tang San blinked but nodded. All right. As soon as he walked ahead, Yi Feng's mischievous hand on Xiao Wu's backside started acting up again. Xiao Wu's breath hitched. She leaned close and whispered urgently in Yi Feng's ear, brother, not now. Tang San's right there. Along the way, no matter what Xiao Wu said, Yi Feng just did his own thing, shamelessly taking advantage of her. Xiao Wu complained about it 2 or 3 times, but since Yi Feng was dead set on messing with her and Tang San was leading the way up ahead, completely oblivious to what was happening behind him, she eventually gave up. With no other choice, she wrapped her arms around Yi Feng's neck and simply enjoyed the sneaky massage of his magic hands. After about 2 hours of walking, a village finally appeared in front of them. At the entrance, a long line had formed. A simple tent stood nearby, with an old man in his 60s sitting under it, a wooden table in front of him. Not far behind him was an arch made of rough wooden planks, with 5 simple words carved onto it, Shrek Academy. No way, brother, are we really going to enroll in this academy? Xiao Wu hopped off Yi Feng's back, staring at the makeshift sign in disbelief. Xiao Wu, don't judge a book by its cover. You can't decide something just by looking at it, Yi Feng said with a smirk. Well, since we're already here, let's just wait and see. Xiao Wu thought about what Yi Feng had mentioned earlier, that Shrek Academy didn't have spirit douluo or titled douluo level masters. That alone was enough to make her lower her expectations. No way, this rundown place is Shrek Academy. The one that claims its graduates can become viscounts. Dad, this is embarrassing. I was a genius in my junior Spirit Master Academy. I don't want to study in a dump like this. That's just what the Spirit Hall folks said. Now that we're here, we might as well see for ourselves. Maybe this is just some sort of test. As they took in the academy's shabby exterior, the parents and students waiting in line couldn't help but murmur among themselves. Despite the doubts about the academy's appearance, the enrollment process continued smoothly under the guidance of the old man in charge. Some people questioned the academy's absurdly high entry requirements or demanded refunds for their 10 gold spirit coins registration fee, but under the silent intimidation of the old man and Dai Mubai, things remained orderly. Next, a young girl stepped forward and extended her fair wrist for the old man to inspect. She was alone, with no parents or guardians accompanying her. It seemed she had come here to enroll by herself. As soon as the old man touched her wrist, his eyes widened in surprise. Excuse me, did I pass the test? A beautiful voice, crisp as a silver bell, rang out. Just listening to it was an absolute delight. Does your family know you're here? Yi Feng, who had been waiting nearby, froze. That conversation sounded way too familiar. He tilted his head, looking toward the girl's back. The voice, the tone, it all clicked in his mind. Could it be Ning Rongrong? They say education shouldn't be discriminatory, the girl said with a charming smile. As long as I meet the academy's requirements, you have no reason not to accept me, right? The old man nodded in acknowledgement, and just like that, the girl passed the test. Soon, it was finally Yi Feng, Xiao Wu, and Tang San's turn. Teacher, the 3 of us are registering. Yi Feng casually tossed the 10 gold spirit coins into the collection box as the old man checked their bone ages. Well, your muscle structure is impressive, especially you, kid. What's your name? The old man looked directly at Yi Feng. Yi Feng, he replied. Yi Feng. The girl who had just passed the test suddenly paused and turned to look at him. Yi Feng, the old man muttered to himself. Apart from the nine-hearted Begonia spirit masters, he couldn't think of any other notable family with the surname Yi. But he quickly focused back on the test and ordered, "Not bad, you've got good muscle structure. Now, release your martial spirits." Tang San, Xiao Wu, and Yi Feng complied, unleashing their respective spirits. As soon as the spirit rings appeared beneath their feet, the old man was stunned. Xiao Wu had 3 spirit rings. The second and third rings were both purple, indicating they were at least 4,000 and 8,000 years old, respectively. A Millennium Spirit Ring. The old man's jaw nearly hit the floor as he stared at Xiao Wu in utter disbelief. But when he turned to look at Yi Feng, his entire body froze on the spot. His mouth trembled as he struggled to form words. Spirit Sect, 10,000, a 10,000-year spirit ring. There were 4 spirit rings under Yi Feng's feet. But what truly shocked the old man was that his 4th spirit ring was black, a 10,000-year spirit ring. Xiao Wu smirked and asked, "So, do we meet the requirements?" The old man nodded, his gaze burning with admiration as he stared at them, especially at Xiao Wu and Yi Feng. With a stunned expression, he asked, "Your spirit rings, they've exceeded the standard limits for the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rings of a spirit master." Xiao Wu tilted her head toward Yi Feng. She hadn't forgotten that all of this was thanks to him. Without the yin-yang eyes of ice and fire strengthening her body, she wouldn't have been able to absorb a 4,000-year spirit ring for her 2nd ring. Looking back at the old man, she raised her chin proudly and said, "I thought you only accepted monsters here. Do we qualify as monsters?" The old man burst into laughter and nodded. "Ha ha ha, yes, you two are absolutely little monsters. Mubai, take them inside." "Got it." Dai Mubai nodded and turned toward Xiao Wu, Yi Feng, and Tang San. "We meet again," Xiao Wu said with a playful smile. "Let's go. Follow me," Dai Mubai responded, though he was clearly nervous around her. Although Xiao Wu was only a level 29 Grand Spirit Master, he didn't dare to mess with her. He absent-mindedly rubbed his abdomen, which was still sore from the beating she gave him yesterday. "You just said your name is Yi Feng." A soft, melodic voice suddenly interrupted them. Yi Feng turned and locked eyes with Ning Rongrong. She was dressed in a clean white dress, her long black hair cascading over her shoulders. Her skin was smooth and fair, with a healthy rosy glow. Though she was still young, her delicate features made it clear she was going to be a stunning beauty in the future. With a friendly smile, she extended her hand toward him. "Hello, my name is Ning Rongrong. You should have heard of me from your teacher." Yi Feng shook her hand and chuckled. "Nice to meet you, junior sister." Ning Rongrong froze, staring at him in shock. "Junior sister?" Yi Feng grinned. "You call Grandmaster Chen Xin, Grandpa Jian, and I happen to be his disciple. If we go by seniority, you should be calling me uncle, but I won't take advantage of you. Junior sister, sounds fair, doesn't it?" Ning Rongrong puffed her cheeks, looking just as indignant as Xiao Wu when she got teased. With her hands on her hips, she shot back, "I'd rather you call me senior sister than junior sister. And for the record, we were born on the same day, so who's to say who's older?" Yi Feng smirked. "Then, I won't go by age. Hurry up and call me uncle." "Not a chance," Ning Rongrong shot back without hesitation. "Then, do you want to call me uncle master or senior brother?" Yi Feng grinned, acting like he had already won. I'll just call you senior brother." Ning Rongrong finally gave in. "Good choice. Later, I'll definitely give you a gift, junior sister." Yi Feng chuckled. "A gift? What kind of gift?" Ning Rongrong asked curiously. "You'll find out once we're in Shrek Academy," Yi Feng replied with a mysterious smile. "All right." Ning Rongrong didn't hesitate. Following Dai Mubai, Ning Rongrong entered Shrek Academy. The second phase of the entrance exam tested the student's spirit power. Xiao Wu's spirit power was at level 33, Ning Rongrong had reached level 26, and Yi Feng had hit level 48. Because their spirit power exceeded level 25, they were allowed to skip the 2nd and 3rd tests and proceed directly to the 4th stage. During the assessment, Dai Mubai brought Zhu Zuqing over, and Oscar also appeared, selling his sausages. Yi Feng, familiar with the storyline, didn't even bother with Oscar's sausages. When Xiao Wu asked why he didn't buy any, Yi Feng casually told her, "Oscar's martial spirit is literally sausages. What do you think those are made from?" According to Shrek Academy's rules, anyone with spirit power above level 25 could go straight to the 4th test. After verifying their spirit power, Yi Feng, Oscar, Xiao Wu, Tang San, and Ning Rongrong all advanced. On the way, Dai Mubai explained Shrek Academy's structure while leading the group to a small square, barely 200 square meters. Sitting in a chair, dozing off, was a middle-aged man in his 50s. "Teacher Zhao, I brought the candidates for the 4th test," Dai Mubai said respectfully. We actually have students who made it to the 4th test this year. And 5 at once." The middle-aged man rubbed his eyes, surprised. They were exempt from the second and third rounds, Dalu explained. Zhao Wuji's eyes gleamed with interest as he stood up. Though he wasn't particularly tall and his appearance was rather plain, his presence was anything but ordinary. His thick, solid muscles screamed strength, making even the towering 12-year-old Yi Feng feel a bit pressured. 5 of you made it this far. Not bad, not bad. Looks like we've got quite a few little monsters this year. My name is Zhao Wuji, and since you skipped the second and third tests, I'll personally play with you in the fourth one. Zhao Wuji cracked his knuckles. I'll give you the time it takes for a stick of incense to burn to get to know each other and strategize. After that, you'll work together to withstand my attacks for 1 incense stick's worth of time. If even one of you is still standing by the end, you pass. But let me warn you, this test isn't easy. Teacher Zhao, isn't this a bit much? Dalu muttered. What's the problem? Zhao Wuji waved him off. The dean isn't here, so my word is final. No more arguing. Teacher Zhao, enough. Dalu, give them a rundown of my spirit power and combat style. I'm giving them a fair chance. But don't think you can outsmart me. Speed alone won't get you past my defenses, and brute force won't work either. Your only shot is teamwork. Dalu sighed and turned to the group. Originally, you only had to beat me in the 4th test. But now, Teacher Zhao is taking over. You guys better be extra careful. Is Teacher Zhao also a spirit emperor, like that teacher at the gate? Xiao Wu asked. Nope, Oscar answered. Then what's there to be afraid of? Our average spirit power is over level 30, Xiao Wu said confidently. You don't get it, Xiao Wu. Teacher Zhao isn't a spirit emperor. He's a 7-ring spirit sage, Dalu corrected her. What, a spirit sage? Xiao Wu and the others were stunned. Yeah, Teacher Zhao is level 76, and his martial spirit is the mighty Vajra bear. Almost no weaknesses, even spirit masters at his level struggle to harm him. People call him Akalanatha, the immovable king. Ning Rongrong's expression changed instantly. Wait, he's Akalanatha. You've heard of him? Xiao Wu asked, surprised. Akalanatha is infamous in the spirit master world. They also call him the Chaos Demon King. The Spirit Hall once sent 20 spirit emperors to hunt him down, but he still escaped. His martial spirit makes him a close combat monster, and his defense is ridiculous. His only weakness is speed, but against us, that doesn't matter. She's right, Dalu confirmed. Normally, his speed is a flaw, but with the gap in power between you guys and him, it's useless. If you want to pass, you need a solid strategy. Ning Rongrong, Zhu Zuqing, Xiao Wu, and Tang San all nodded seriously. For them, facing a spirit sage for the first time was a huge challenge. Even Yi Feng wasn't feeling too confident. Sure, he had inherited the sword techniques of Chen Xin, but at the end of the day, he was only a level 40+ spirit sect. Taking on Zhao Wuji alone was impossible. Was he really about to get his ass kicked, only to be saved by Tang San pulling some last-minute miracle? Just as he was thinking about it, ding, a robotic voice rang in Yi Feng's mind. The system has detected that the host is about to get his ass handed to him by Zhao Wuji. The system disapproves, rewarding host with a Contra Experience card. Contra Experience card grants the user the spirit power of a level 89 Contra for 30 minutes. Yi Feng stared at the system notification, dumbfounded. A Contra Experience card, he hadn't expected such a reward. Not just any temporary boost, but straight up level 89 spirit power, only one step away from the legendary title douluo. With this, he could end the battle quickly. But then came the real problem. How the hell was he supposed to explain this? His spirit power was only at level 48, and suddenly jumping to level 89. No way that wouldn't raise suspicion. Dalu shook his head, still focused on the test. You guys better figure out a plan. Without proper teamwork, you won't last a single wave against Teacher Zhao. He's right, Tang San chimed in. I have a strategy. Everyone, listen up. His eyes gleamed. This was his chance to shine, to cement himself as the strategist of their group. But just as Tang San was about to start, Yi Feng suddenly collapsed. His entire body convulsed like he was having a seizure. Bro, what's wrong? Xiao Wu panicked, rushing to his side. Senior brother, Ning Rongrong also frowned, stepping closer. Tang San blinked. Wait, is this epilepsy? Epilepsy, Xiao Wu and Ning Rongrong echoed in confusion. Tang San took a deep breath and explained, it's a rare condition. When it hits, the person falls to the ground, their limbs twitch uncontrollably, eyes roll back, and sometimes they drool or lose control of their bodily functions. Some cases even cause short-term unconsciousness. At that moment, Yi Feng twitched violently, eyes rolling upward. Fortunately, there was no drooling or anything else embarrassing. Boom, out of nowhere, Yi Feng stopped shaking, flipped back onto his feet, and dusted himself off like nothing happened. I'm good. Xiao Wu looked at him, still worried. Are you sure? Yeah, don't worry about it. Tang San, on the other hand, frowned. Something about this felt off. All right, we need to discuss our tactics, he insisted. We only have one stick of incense before the test starts. Yi Feng scoffed. Nah, no need. Tang San narrowed his eyes. What do you mean, no need? Yi Feng smirked. We're facing a damn soul sage over level 70, right? You really think some half-baked strategy is gonna change anything? In the face of absolute strength, tactics are useless. His gaze locked onto Zhao Wuji. Zhao Wuji, you shameless bastard. A grown-ass man, a powerful soul sage, bullying a bunch of kids. Ain't that pathetic? Zhao Wuji chuckled. This is a test, brat. TCH. A test, huh? Yi Feng sneered. Fine, but I don't need a team. I'll take you on alone. The group fell silent. What? Dai Mubai blinked. Yi Feng, you serious? Xiao Wu's jaw nearly dropped. Brother, don't joke around. Even Tang San looked at him like he had lost his damn mind. Ning Rongrong, who had always respected Chen Xin, eyed Yi Feng suspiciously. Yi Feng crossed his arms. This is my fight. I want Shrek Academy to know, not just anyone can mess with me. Zhao Wuji raised a brow. You sure about this, kid? Start the damn test. The air grew tense. Zhao Wuji finally shrugged. Fine, but don't cry to me when you get your ass kicked. The moment he spoke, 7 spirit rings emerged from beneath him, 2 yellow, 2 purple, and 3 black. A towering mighty Vajra bear spirit materialized behind him, radiating raw power. The transformation made him look even more like a beast, bulging muscles, an aura of sheer dominance. Even though he wasn't ridiculously tall, his presence was suffocating. Yi Feng, however, remained unfazed. I'm ready. But then, his own spirit rings appeared. 2 yellow, 1 purple, 1 black. Zhao Wuji chuckled. Soul sect, huh, the dean will be pleased to hear about this. But even if you're a soul sect, you're still. His voice trailed off. His eyes widened. Then, his face twisted in pure shock. Because Yi Feng's spirit power was rising. Fast. Soul King. Soul Emperor. Soul Saint. Contra. Zhao Wuji blurted out. The others were just as stunned. What the hell is going on? Dai Mubai whispered. How did his spirit power suddenly? Xiao Wu covered her mouth. Yi Feng smirked. What's wrong, Akala? You were talking real tough a second ago. Zhao Wuji's brain short-circuited. How is your spirit power over level 80? This went against everything he knew. A 12-year-old kid, with only 4 spirit rings, suddenly wielding contra-level power. Impossible. Yi Feng extended a single finger. Zhao Wuji narrowed his eyes. What does that mean? One move, Yi Feng said calmly. That's all it'll take. The moment the words left his lips, his spirit rings vanished. The 9 hearts mysterious Tang martial spirit in his right hand faded, replaced by a 3-foot golden sword in his left. The sword was stunning, etched with symbols of the sun, moon, and stars on one side, mountains, rivers, and plants on the other. Its hilt bore ancient inscriptions detailing agriculture, animal husbandry, and the unification of the world. It was radiant, it was divine, and despite lacking visible spirit rings, it exuded a power so immense that space itself seemed to tremble around it. This was Yi Feng's first martial spirit, Xuanyuan sword. A faint tremor ran through Tang San's body. He clenched his fists, feeling his own clear sky hammer pulse in fear. Zhao Wuji's expression turned grim. He could sense it. This sword was dangerous. Yi Feng gripped the Xuanyuan sword tighter. As his spirit power surged, it glowed brilliantly. Zhao Wuji exhaled sharply. He had no choice. His 7th spirit ring lit up with a deep black light. 7th spirit skill, the true form of the mighty Vajra bear. The fight had begun. Ning Rongrong. I want to report this. Yi Feng definitely did it on purpose. Zhao Wuji's height instantly shot up past 5 meters, his muscles swelling in an exaggerated manner as he transformed into a true giant bear. His brownish-yellow fur grew wildly, and when his body fully shifted into its bear form, his fur gleamed with a brilliant golden hue. Martial spirit's true body. Dai Mubai's face was filled with shock. Their combat instructor had actually used his martial spirit's true form. 4th spirit skill, position tracking. Once Zhao Wuji activated his spirit body, he could freely use all spirit skills below the 7th ring for 30 minutes, each with 150% of its original power. His defense increased by 200%, but after use, his attributes would be weakened by 50%, requiring 7 days to recover. Zhao Wuji's 4th spirit skill was released almost instantly, but surprisingly, his target wasn't Yi Feng, it was a large tree 150 meters away. He wasn't aiming to attack Yi Feng. He was trying to escape. Whoosh! Using his enhanced strength, Zhao Wuji launched himself off the ground, attempting to leap away from Yi Feng's impending strike. Man and sword as one. At the same time, Yi Feng merged himself with the sword. The golden blade descended from the sky, striking Zhao Wuji before he could fully escape, sending him crashing into the ground. Boom! The terrifying sword energy erupted from the Xuanyuan sword, slicing through the air and forming a razor-sharp gust of wind that swept across the area. Rocks and dirt exploded into the air, momentarily blotting out the surroundings in a cloud of dust. When everything settled, a long, sword-shaped mark was carved into the ground. As for Zhao Wuji, the moment that dominant blade struck, he was slammed into the earth, motionless. "Teacher Zhao," Dai Mubai shouted, his voice filled with urgency. He quickly leapt forward, checking Zhao Wuji's condition. Feeling a weak but steady pulse, he sighed in relief. Zhao Wuji was just knocked unconscious. A little rest would do the trick, there was no real danger to his life. Here we go again. Just as the battle ended, Yi Feng's body started twitching uncontrollably once more, looking exactly like someone having an epileptic fit. His eyes rolled back, limbs convulsing for a moment. Then, as suddenly as it started, he returned to normal. Xiao Wu rushed to his side, concern written all over her face. "Brother, are you okay?" "I'm fine," Yi Feng replied, dusting himself off. "Senior brother, what the hell happened just now? How did you become so damn strong?" Ning Rongrong asked curiously. Yi Feng naturally couldn't reveal the truth. Instead, he turned the question around on Ning Rongrong, asking what had happened just now. After she recounted everything, Yi Feng pretended to be lost in thought before shaking his head. "I don't really get it either. Could there be a dormant spirit inside you?" Tang San suddenly asked. Yi Feng's eyes flickered. "A dormant spirit? Yeah, I read about it in some ancient records. It's said that even if some powerful individuals die, their spirits can still reside inside another person's body. What happened to you just now kinda matches that description," Tang San theorized. "No shit." Yi Feng looked at him in surprise. He hadn't expected Tang San to bring up something that actually aligned with the system's cheat ability. "Yeah, but judging by what just happened, that spirit doesn't seem hostile to you. So you don't have to stress about it trying to take over or some crazy shit like that," Tang San reassured him. Late night at Shrek Academy. The night at Shrek Academy was calm, save for the occasional sounds of unknown creatures chirping in the distance. Because Yi Feng had used the Contra Experience card to defeat Zhao Wuji, all 5 of them, Yi Feng, Ning Rongrong, Tang San, Zhu Zuqing, and Xiao Wu, passed the entrance exam and officially became students of Shrek Academy. However, despite changing the original timeline and stealing Tang San's moment to shine, Yi Feng didn't receive any rewards from the system. Since he had used an item rather than his own strength, the system didn't count it as an actual accomplishment. Just as he was about to sleep, a voice drifted in from his window. "Disciple, come out." The voice didn't belong to Tang Hao, the clear sky douluo. Instead, it was from Chen Xin. Since Zhao Wuji had been defeated by Yi Feng instead of bullying Tang San, Tang Hao didn't need to show up tonight to beat up Zhao Wuji. Following the direction of the voice, Yi Feng arrived at the academy's small square, where he saw Chen Xin waiting for him. Grandpa Sword. Yi Feng wasn't the only one who came. Ning Rongrong had also shown up. "Rongrong, you're still awake?" Chen Xin asked with a smile. "Grandpa Jian, you're so biased. Now that you've got a disciple, you don't care about me anymore, huh?" Ning Rongrong pouted, shooting a jealous look at Yi Feng. "Nonsense. How could Grandpa Jian not care about my little princess?" Chen Xin chuckled, reaching out to pat her head affectionately. "HMPH. Then where's Grandpa Bone and my dad? Why didn't they come?" she asked, looking around. "I came for Yi Feng this time, so your father and Bone Douluo stayed behind," Chen Xin explained. "See, I knew it. You totally didn't come for me." Ning Rongrong huffed, her pout deepening as she glared at Yi Feng like he had stolen something from her. Chen Xin smiled helplessly. "Rongrong's growing up, you even know how to get jealous now." Ning Rongrong didn't reply, just turned away with an exaggerated HMPH. "Grandpa Jian, what's so important that you had to come all the way here?" she asked curiously. "If you want to know, follow me," Chen Xin said, summoning the 7-kill sword. Ning Rongrong took a step forward, planning to hop on, but was stopped by Chen Xin. She looked at him in confusion. "Yi Feng can fly with his sword now. Let him take you. Consider it practice for him," Chen Xin said casually. Ning Rongrong froze. Though she had a bratty young lady attitude, she wasn't stupid. And neither was Yi Feng. The two of them immediately caught on. Chen Xin was obviously trying to set them up. "Grandpa Jian, you don't care about me anymore, and now you're being stingy too." HMPH. Ning Rongrong pouted harder, but her cheeks had already turned red. She walked over to Yi Feng, hesitating for a moment before mumbling, "Be brother, please take care of me." Yi Feng smirked. "No problem." With a thought, he summoned the Xuanyuan sword. At the moment, without any attached spirit rings, the blade was about 3 feet long, just enough space for 2 people to stand. "Junior sister, front or back?" he asked. Back, Ning Rongrong blurted out, blushing even harder. All right then, hop on. Yifeng stepped onto the front half of the Xuanyuan sword, leaving plenty of room for Ning Rongrong. She nodded, stepping onto the blade carefully. As soon as the sword took off, inertia pulled her backward. She let out a startled scream and, without thinking, wrapped her arms around Yifeng's waist, hugging him tightly from behind. The two of them, locked in an embrace, soared through the night sky like a couple. Junior sister, are you okay? Yifeng asked. It's okay, Ning Rongrong replied with a flushed face. She shyly let go of her arms that were hugging Yifeng's waist. Ning Rongrong had just let go of Yifeng's waist when she screamed again, and her hands instinctively hugged Yifeng's waist once more. It wasn't just intimate physical contact. Because Yifeng's flying speed on the sword varied, every time they came into contact, Ning Rongrong could clearly feel that two things were being squeezed and deformed. Junior sister, are you okay? Yifeng asked again. It's okay, but can't you fly more steadily? Ning Rongrong asked in a reproachful tone. Ning Rongrong wanted to say that Yifeng did this on purpose to take advantage of her. Unfortunately, she had no proof. Junior sister, I don't want to either. It's really you should lose some weight. Yifeng replied in a low voice. Yifeng couldn't be blamed for this. Ever since Yifeng learned to fly on a sword, he had never taken anyone with him. This was the first time he had tried flying with someone. Perhaps, this was a training given to Yifeng by sword douluo Chen Xin. What did you say? Ning Rongrong was stunned, and her expression changed instantly. What did Yifeng mean by that? Yifeng had actually said that Ning Rongrong should lose weight and that she was too fat. Yifeng was also stunned. He knew he had stirred up a hornet's nest. After thinking for a while, he said, Junior sister, I didn't say anything. You clearly said just now that I was fat and that I should lose weight. Ning Rongrong said seriously. Yes, because I'm your senior brother, and I'm worried that you're too fat and won't be able to get married in the future. Yifeng said with a smile. You can't spit out ivory from a dog's mouth. If I can't get married, I'll blame you. Ning Rongrong screamed again. The Xuanyuan sword suddenly shook violently, scaring Ning Rongrong so much that she quickly hugged Yifeng tightly from behind. Junior sister, it seems you're not just fat, but a little stupid too. Yifeng teased with a smile. Why am I stupid? Ning Rongrong asked, glaring. Think about it, a dog is a dog and an elephant is an elephant. How could ivory come out of a dog's mouth? Aren't you forcing someone to do something against his will? Yifeng teased with a grin. Ning Rongrong bit her red lips angrily with her little silver teeth. Ning Rongrong wanted to reach out and punch Yifeng a few times, but they were flying on a sword, so she couldn't spare any hands. Ning Rongrong looked ahead, only seeing Chen Xin's back. With Chen Xin's flying speed and strength, he could have easily left Yifeng and Ning Rongrong behind, and even carried Ning Rongrong on his sword. But Chen Xin didn't do that. Chen Xin was flying alone in front, not paying attention to the situation behind. Ning Rongrong suspected that her grandfather was trying to match her with Yifeng, but she had no evidence. Ning Rongrong figured this out and blushed. According to the sect rules of the Seven Treasures Blazed Tile sect, her future partner had to be a combat-type spirit master. Ning Rongrong thought back to what had happened today. Yifeng had defeated Zhao Wuji single-handedly, and it had left a deep impression on her. Especially considering that Yifeng was also a very interesting person. If she followed him, her life would definitely never be boring. Ning Rongrong thought of this, and since she had already hugged Yifeng's waist with both hands, she simply leaned her face against his back. With a shy smile, she reminded him, Brother, Grandpa Chen has already flown so far. Let's hurry up. Yifeng responded, Right. Yifeng and Ning Rongrong chatted and laughed along the way. About 10 minutes later, they followed Chen Xin to a mountain peak. The mountain was ordinary, with rocks as the main feature and almost no vegetation. But if any spirit beasts climbed to the top, they could still be easily spotted in the moonlight. When Yifeng arrived, Chen Xin was already standing at the top of the mountain. Grandpa Chen, you still haven't told me what we're doing here, Ning Rongrong asked curiously. Of course, it's to help Yifeng's spirit awaken a second time and open up the spirit domain, Chen Xin replied. What? Spirit domain? Spirit domain? Yifeng and Ning Rongrong looked at Chen Xin in shock. Chen Xin was actually saying he would help Yifeng open up the spirit domain. Only a small number of spirit masters in the world had the comprehension to use spirit domains. The benefits of domains were obvious, as they allowed one to add a skill equivalent to a soul skill. The powers of domains varied from person to person. Different people's spirit domains had different effects. The most famous in the spirit master world was the Killing God domain. However, the Killing God domain required entering the city of slaughter and passing through the road to hell before one spirit could gain such a domain. Domains were divided into innate domains and acquired domains. The Killing God domain was an acquired domain, and only a small number of spirit masters had innate domains when their spirits awakened. Of course, nothing was absolute. There were always strange methods that could allow a spirit master's spirit to awaken a second time in the acquired world and obtain a spirit domain between the innate and acquired realms. At this moment, Chen Xin told Yi Feng and Ning Rongrong that he had come to help Yi Feng open up his spirit domain. Whoosh! Chen Xin waved his hand, and countless silver lights flew out from his storage soul guide. These lights scattered across the mountain peaks, and the number was probably more than 5 digits. These silver lights weren't ordinary items. They were swords of various shapes. As they appeared, a different kind of energy fluctuation seemed to fill the surrounding space. It was a fluctuation unlike the basic elements like water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light, or darkness. Ning Rongrong might not have felt it deeply, but Yi Feng, possessing the Xuanyuan sword spirit, clearly felt the energy fluctuation. He knew the increased energy came from the swords. Luoshui sword, Qinming sword, flame sword. Ning Rongrong named some of the swords approaching her, then asked in surprise, "Grandpa Chen, when did you start collecting swords?" As the eldest daughter of the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect, Ning Rongrong knew the origins of these swords. They were all incredibly sharp, some so sharp they could cut a hair. She had never thought her sword grandpa would actually have collected these rare items. Although these swords were precious, their brilliance was overshadowed by the spirit masters. Not only the swords, but even the blacksmiths who forged them weren't well known in the world. Chen Xin nodded with satisfaction and said, "Ever since I accepted your senior brother as my disciple, I asked Fengji to collect these swords. After 6 years of collection, I finally gathered 18,000 swords a few days ago. Now, I can finally awaken your senior brother's spirit domain." 6 years, Yi Feng said in shock. 6 years had passed since Chen Xin defeated Yi Feng and became his master. During those years, Chen Xin always left Yi Feng's side. Yi Feng thought that, as the guardian douluo of the 7 Treasures Glazed Tile sect, Chen Xin had to frequently return to the academy to take charge. Yi Feng never thought that the reason his teacher was always away was that he was collecting these rare swords for him. The flame sword is the treasure of the Fire Leopard sect, and the Luoshui sword belongs to the Shui family. "Grandpa Jian, how did you get these ancient weapons?" Ning Rongrong asked curiously. "Of course, it's a one-on-one duel," Chen Xin replied. One-on-one, Ning Rongrong was stunned. Some sword-shaped spirit masters in the spirit master world really wanted to get my guidance. Some of the swords were given to me by them after I sparred with them and defeated them. Some were bought by your father for a large sum of money, Chen Xin explained in detail. Spirit masters in the spirit master world have martial spirits, and weapons are like chicken ribs to them. As long as they can gain benefits, giving up these rare collections is completely feasible. "I see. Grandpa Jian, you just said that you wanted to awaken my brother's martial spirit realm. Will there be any risks in this process?" Ning Rongrong glanced at Yi Feng and asked with concern. "Rongrong, Grandpa Jian understands what you mean. Grandpa Jian's martial spirit realm was awakened by my father. I know how to open the realm of a sword-shaped martial spirit. Your senior brother will be fine," Chen Xin said, touching Ning Rongrong's head lovingly. "That's good." Ning Rongrong breathed a sigh of relief and looked at Yi Feng enviously. "Disciple, let's begin. When my father helped me awaken my martial spirit, he only used 10,000 ancient swords. I want to see what the difference is between the martial spirit realm awakened by using 18,000 ancient swords and mine," Chen Xin urged. "Master, what should I do?" Yi Feng suppressed his inner excitement and asked. In the original storyline, Tang San relied on the help of the 10,000-year Blue Silver King to perform a second awakening of his martial spirit, allowing him to possess a 6th spirit ring and a martial spirit domain called the Blue Silver Field. Now, with the help of Chen Xin, Yi Feng was about to awaken the realm of his Xuanyuan sword martial spirit. Stand in the middle of the mountain and sit cross-legged there. Remember, keep your spiritual altar close. As long as one thought remains, it will not be extinguished, Chen Xin solemnly instructed. "Okay," Yi Feng nodded. Yi Feng walked to the middle of the mountain and sat cross-legged. Chen Xin closed his eyes, opened them again, and the silver light on his body burst out. Chen Xin's silver spirit power was very overbearing. Under its call, 18,000 swords of various shapes and sizes scattered on the mountain peaks began to approach Yi Feng with a silver energy. These energies were nothing special when considered separately. But when they were gathered together, it felt like a lake formed by the confluence of streams. The silver light stopped about a meter around Yi Feng, forming a huge silver cocoon. The silver energy continued to penetrate into Yi Feng's body through his capillaries. Don't underestimate these silver lights. They were the energy essence of the ancient swords, containing energy that could be called sword attributes. Yi Feng was immortal, and under the injection of these energies, his body couldn't help but tremble slightly in pain. As long as there is a thought, it will never die. Chen Xin's voice floated into Yi Feng's sea of consciousness. As long as there is a thought, it will never die. Yi Feng repeated in his heart. He suppressed the pain in his body and kept his consciousness focused. No matter what kind of pain his body suffered, he ignored it. He kept his eyes closed and silently accepted the baptism of the energy of these ancient swords. Ning Rongrong stood by and watched. She noticed that Yi Feng's facial features were distorted with pain, and he clenched his hands anxiously, as if praying. She murmured in her heart, "Senior brother, you must hold on." Because the mountain was shrouded in overbearing sword-shaped energy and this wasn't a soul-beast forest, the realm awakening ceremony proceeded in an orderly manner. The awakening process of Yi Feng's Xuanyuan sword spirit is somewhat similar to the second awakening of Tang San's blue-silver grass spirit. Both rely on external forces to allow the spirit to undergo the so-called second awakening. Tang San's martial spirit was blue-silver grass. With the help of the blue-silver king in a large area of blue-silver grass, Tang San was finally able to possess the blue-silver domain. Yi Feng's martial spirit is Xuanyuan sword. The reason why he could also awaken for the second time was that he had the help of 18,000 ancient swords of different ages and grades, and the assistance of Chen Xin, who had a very deep understanding of swords. These were all indispensable conditions for the sword-shaped martial spirit to awaken for the second time. In addition, there was one last necessary condition: Chen Xin's spirit power of level 96. Chen Xin's title was Jian, and his spirit power level was 96. Without such huge spirit power to serve as the source of the awakening ceremony, it would be impossible to help Yi Feng awaken his martial spirit for the second time. Almost all spirit masters with sword-shaped martial spirits cannot awaken their martial spirits for the second time because they lack these necessary conditions. Looking at the spirit master world, perhaps only Chen Xin had mastered this rare magic. The awakening ceremony proceeded in an orderly manner. When the first rays of the sun shone on the mountain the next day, Yi Feng slowly opened his eyes. The moment Yi Feng opened his eyes, two silver sword-shaped lights flashed in his eyes. Chen Xin's tired eyes showed a look of relief, and with a wave of his hand, the silver light around him disappeared. When the silver light dissipated, Chen Xin staggered back 3 steps. "Grandpa Jian," Ning Rongrong exclaimed in surprise. Ning Rongrong quickly caught Chen Xin when he was about to fall. She looked at him with concern. At this point, Chen Xin's originally rosy face had turned pale as snow. Even though he was a level 96 titled douluo, it was still difficult for him to control so many ancient swords for such a long time. "Are you okay?" Ning Rongrong asked with concern. "Rongrong, don't worry, Grandpa Jian is fine. Grandpa Jian just consumed some of his spiritual power. He'll be fine after a rest." Chen Xin forced a smile. "Master," Yi Feng called out with emotion. At this moment, Chen Xin wasn't as simple as he claimed. He had been performing the ritual of awakening the dominant domain for such a long time, and his spirit power was nearly exhausted. Not only his spirit power, but Chen Xin also looked like he had aged 5 or 6 years in an instant. "Disciple, let your master see the domain of your Xuanyuan sword martial spirit," Chen Xin urged curiously.